Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 80 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, M to the double O D to the Z, also known as Moodz. And of course, I've always got my extra juicy burrito, double shot J, also known as JP, by my side. What's going on, homie?
Yo, we are back, coming fresh off of some Tremors into some Schramm.
Tremors! So yeah, if you have not checked out that show, do so. It's a fucking marathon. That shit was like 4.5 hours long, man.
Yeah, I was struggling because I was so tired by the end of it. You know, I think right when we finished Tremors 2, I was like, yep, I'm gonna die.
I didn't even know, man.
I could tell.
I knew that we were like, you know, it was a long show, but then when I saw the final edit, when it got posted, I was like, 4.5 hours. Holy shit. I almost fell off my seat. I was like, that's crazy. But yeah. you must have just been dying.
Yeah, because like I explained, that was my long week, and that was my, I worked that day. It was like the common and watched 5 Tremors films and a TV series. So it was like a combination of, all kind of nonsense going on. But, funny thing happened today. We obviously planned the Tremor show before we recorded it, obviously, but we didn't plan it too far ahead of time.
It would have been weird if we planned it after.
We didn't plan it too far ahead of time. So I actually didn't own Tremors 5. So I knew that it was on Netflix. So I was like, okay, I have a way to watch it. But I ordered it anyway. And I just got it in the mail today. So day late, dollar short.
Nice. Man, that I'm sure it looks the same on Netflix, but man, the Blu-ray looks crisp.
Yeah,
like,
I actually
real nice.
Blu-ray. It came with the slipcover and everything, and the DVD. I got it from Go Hastings for $4.
Wow.
So yeah, I got it in the Blu-ray with the DVD combo. The DVD's there, and it has the slipcover. So I was like, boss.
For $4, damn.
Mm-hmm. Also
really
got Game of Thrones season 1 for $4.
That's just so random, really.
Yeah, on Blu-ray too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I only seen the first episode. I watched the first episode of Game of Thrones, and I thought it was awesome. I just, me with TV shows. It seems like we always bring this up every week, but I don't know. I think it's something it'd be pretty cool to get into.
I also placed an order like a couple weeks ago, got it in the mail today. Just random little things, but one of the things that I wanted to grab was the Video Nasties Volume 1. Turns out I accidentally ordered Volume 2, so so I have Volume 2 before Volume 1, which sucks. And funny thing was, Volume 1 was actually only $13, and I grabbed the second volume, which was $14.
That sucks.
But the title's so damn long, I didn't notice it.
I mean, you technically could still watch Volume 2 without watching Volume 1 because it's about, Volume 2 is about like, the Section 3 and things like that. So it's different, but it's awesome, man.
Yeah, my OCD won't allow me to do that.
Those are so good, man. Actually, when I was in Mexico, I brought a little bit of stuff to watch, and I actually brought the Video Nasties Volume 1 and 2 to watch. And at nighttime, because, when you're in the sun all day and shit, you're tired, you end up going to bed super early. So I'd watch like a little bit of that every night. Dude, those are the best things ever to watch because they're so interesting. Like you watch the trailers with the introductions, and dude, it's like 7-8 hours of that shit, man. Just them talking about these films, and it's amazing. You're going to love it. You're going to love it, man. And then when you get to the Section 3 list, it's so cool because there's a lot of films in there that I've never seen before. And those are the most interesting ones for me. I'm just like, damn, got to find these. It's so amazing. Plus, I got a shitty memory, so, 6 months down the road, I'd be like watching it for the first time again. So.
Yeah, we actually have, some cool things going on the Facebook group right now. We're still doing the 22 screenshots of horror, which I kicked back up again. Still doing that. It's going to take a while for somebody to actually win, but for those who...
fucking speaking of that shit, man, fucking what is Derek just waiting for those things to pop up? Like you posted the one for the Red Sin Tower, and like I clicked on it, and I knew what it was right away. It was like one of the first ones I've ever known right away. And by the time I clicked out of it, Derek had already answered. I
Yeah.
was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, were you sitting there just waiting for that? Like, wow, that was some good reflex time right there.
Yeah, I
Nuts.
know that some people do get them, like they're just really on it really quickly. Some of them are easier than others.
Yeah.
I know I usually have a feeling of which ones are going to be a little bit harder based on the screenshot that I use.
Hmm.
There's a method to my madness. There's a way that I kind of do it. But, I did buy a prize for it. The winner will receive the Twisted Terror collection. First person to 22 points wins. I think everybody's at about 7 is the highest, the leader right now, 7 or 9. Can't remember. But the Twisted Terror collection, for those of you who don't know, it's actually a really cool box set. You can find it very cheaply, but it is, it's
Yeah,
free.
but it's still
So
a
what the hell?
prize. It's still a prize. It's six
uh,
films, and it's an awesome box set.
yeah,
But
it has a Craven film and a Carpenter film in it.
yeah, and it's got Dr. Giggles.
And The Hand, Oliver Stone.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Um, but yeah, I think the person that's actually in the lead right now has been MIA for a while. So I don't know, man. It's anyone's game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I seen that Mike Merriman was, said that he was sort of late to the game, but he's still having fun.
Mhm.
And dude, you can come back out of nowhere because sometimes if I don't if nobody gets it, I'll make the points higher for it.
Yeah.
So you can kind of jump back in at any time just with a couple wins. Another thing that we're doing that I thought was pretty cool is the tournament that's going on, the bracket.
Yeah.
Seeing who the best DVD slash
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray distribution company is.
I have to say, man. Okay, I have to ask you a question. How did you pick who was up against each other in the first round? Because one of the battles was really, it was kind of like, oh,
Lopsided?
yeah. I mean,
Well,
what was the one where people were like, I can't remember. It was the one with Full Moon and
it was Arrow and Cheesy Flicks was the first one.
Arrow and Cheesy Flicks, and then what was the
Full
second one?
Moon and Lionsgate.
Full Moon Lionsgate. Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, well, I kind of seeded it in a way. Like
Mhm.
it's a 64 bracket. So I went with four companies that I thought were the best, and it was Arrow, Scream Factory, uh, Criterion, and I believe 88 Films. And I just wanted to throw some UK love in there. Those might not be the best.
Mhm.
And so that makes them all in their own section of the bracket. So essentially, all four of those could be the final four. And then I kind of went to the number 2 seed, and it was like Blue Underground, Synapse, Grindhouse, and they're not perfect. I didn't spend like hours like who
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be this seed, but I kind of just did it that way. And then like if you notice, like Echo Bridge is the 12th seed, along with the other 12 seeds are Mill Creek, Screen Gems, and Asylum. So it's they're all pretty lower tier companies or whatever, but the seating kind of got a little bit wonky when I started forgetting some, but for the most part, I think that it's all right. So right now, I mean, you're looking at the four winners. You have Arrow, Lionsgate, Olive, and Twilight, or Echo Bridge actually beat Twilight Time, which was funny.
Yeah,
But
man.
so it's there's going to be squash matches in the first round and second round probably.
And that, I mean, people's votes were basically based on how much they can't stand Twilight Times. I mean, if we match up the
But if
quality
you
of releases here, I mean,
I mean,
Twilight Times is a lot better.
well, what is quality though? Because to me, quality is they released Echo Bridge released Hellraiser 3, which was out of print, which was really a big deal to me, and they were the first person to release Children of the Corn 2. It had never had a U.S. release before that. That was a big
Mhm.
deal to me because it completed my Children of the Corn collection, as well as a bunch of other films that I got cheaply through them. Twilight Time, what have they done for me? Well, they haven't done anything for me. They've released stuff that I can't get to in time before it's out of print, or
Mhm.
that it's even worth picking up.
I think if you collect all genres, man, it would be a company that you would love because they do release like a lot of older, action, drama, like all types of
Oh
subgenre
yeah,
films
probably if
and
it
stuff.
were.
But they
Uh,
do release a lot of really good films, and stuff. So, but
yeah,
I only I only
I
have
was
one
mainly
release.
speaking of horror, of course, when I designed this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think that there is sort of a novelty to Echo Bridge kind of having those little those multi packs out there in the world too. But also, if you want to transition into the TV thing, because I think they've released some TV shows really cheaply as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
they've done some stuff.
Echo Bridge and Mill Creek, they just sound cheap, don't they?
They
Like, doesn't
do.
Mill Creek just sound cheap, and then Echo Bridge? I
You know
don't
what's
know.
funny about Echo Bridge is we have this little tunnel down in my place where I live, down the road. That's sort of like a creek, and it goes into a tunnel that's under some train tracks, and we've called it Echo Hollow forever. Like, it's always been called Echo Hollow. And it always like Echo Bridge and Mill Creek remind me of Echo Hollow, which, by the way, this place is really dirty and disgusting as well. So,
Nice. Sounds awesome.
yeah. So that's still going on. I'll probably post another one tomorrow. Another battle. The next battle will be Shameless versus Something Weird. Should be kind of interesting. Shameless, of course, from the UK.
Shameless versus Something Weird. Wow. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, both companies, man. There's so many companies on there that I love and I collect and stuff, and it's just like, it's gonna get to the point where we're gonna have to make some real tough choices. You know?
And I try to I also want people, if you have a horse in the race, like if you're a huge fan of Shameless, like comment, like be like, look, this is why Shameless should win. You can sway people.
Yeah.
I try to type a little something like, hey, this is what they're known for, like just the first things that pop in my head, just so if people are unfamiliar with them, they can get familiar pretty quickly, just based on like 3 notable titles or something.
I mean, with Shameless, the first thing that would come to mind would be Yellow Cases.
Yeah, those are cool, man. I
Yeah,
do
man.
like the Shameless line. Do they still release stuff?
Yeah, they do. They're very quiet, but they have announced, like, I think they were announced a sec recently, or was it sec? I believe so. And yeah, they've really slowed down, but I'm still trying to collect some of the ones that I missed in the past. But yeah, I mean, at least they all still come in yellow cases, which is awesome. They look great on the shelf.
Yeah, I actually want to pick up that Del Morte Del Amor just for the fact of I really like the case and the cover.
Yeah, the artwork that they use on that's really cool.
It's way better than the U.S. Anchor Bay cover art.
Yeah.
But Moodz, this episode, okay, check this out. This episode is episode 80. If you journey all the way back to episode 37, we covered
I have no idea.
Knight's Necromantic.
Necromantic.
Way back in episode 37. And then, if you journey a little bit further up the list, you have episode 44, which was Necromantic 2 by Jörg Wright.
Well, those are pretty close together.
Yes. And then, if you travel a little bit further down the road, you got episode 53. You have Der Todsking from 1990, Jörg Wright.
Yeah.
So this show right here, this is Schramm, episode 80, which is quite a far away from episode 53. It's a pretty big gap since we've covered a Jörg Wright film, and this is coming to us, or at least me, courtesy of Cult Epics. They actually hooked me up with quite a fancy little box set. If you haven't seen it,
you got fucking 2 copies of this movie, man.
I know. Which I totally didn't expect.
Which I'm still shaking my head at. They sent you the nice box set, and then they sent you the individual release too. And I'm thinking to myself, going, why would they even, like, what was the point of that? Unless you were, they wanted you to do unboxings for both, or
yeah, I don't know. But I absolutely love that box set. I think the cover's great. I think the design of it, even though it's this one case, you have all 4 discs in there. They all have the cover art, and it's a nice blend of the posters on the case cover. There's a booklet in there. The set is pretty sturdy, but most of all, what I like most is the inclusion of the soundtracks.
I know, it's such a nice addition.
Yeah, it really adds something to it. And I mentioned in the video that I did for the unboxing that's one of the things that I think we're seeing more of with companies like Grindhouse out there who are including these soundtracks, which honestly I think can really take off. And I think that will be like we said previously, if the Return of the Living Dead
Oh, I know
Scream
that.
Factory edition would have came with that for their pre-order bonus. I think even though they sold out like immediately,
Yeah.
I think that they could have sold more copies just as fast.
Oh, big time, big time.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's
I
such a
went,
great soundtrack, man. It's such a
oh
great
yeah,
soundtrack, so
yeah.
such a great selling point.
Which honestly, like, I do really think that the soundtracks in all of Georg Burkhart's films that we've covered are, very interesting and definitely notable. And I actually like the music, so definitely
Well,
have
it,
that.
it's definitely one very very unique thing about his films is the soundtracks. Like on the individual release of Schramm, which of course we're covering today, it says on the back the special features that comes with the motion picture soundtrack, but unfortunately it's not on a separate disc, which is like
It
really
is on the
strange.
Blu-ray. It's, you just go to the menu and click it, and then
Yeah, so you can listen that way, um but yeah, the other thing I noticed about this release also that was kind of strange, it didn't have a booklet in it. I think all the other releases have booklets, don't they?
no,
Or something?
no,
Don't they
they
have
have
some?
like a card,
They,
like a postcard looking
yeah,
thing.
postcards, or they had some type of insert in there. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm referring to. But this one doesn't have anything. So
I actually haven't opened that individual release, but I did open the box set, and there's a booklet in there. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. We've kind of come full circle with Jörg Burkhart's career. I mean, I think at this point, Moodz, and how crazy is this? This is the only director besides Don Coscarelli that we've covered 4 films from their uh,
it's kind of strange.
career. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm wrong.
I would have to really look into that. I can't remember. So, like in the featured reviews.
Oh, actually, fucking Frank Henenlotter.
Oh, of course, Henenlotter. But didn't we just do those shows?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit!
yeah. But besides, before that, there was no.
I know. I was totally thinking, like, right when you asked the question, I was thinking way, way back, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Henenlotter, but definitely dedicated separate shows too.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's 4 shows that are dedicated to this guy now.
Yeah.
So in that way, he's kind of in the lead here.
Yeah, and I think all the shows did relatively well too. I think people are a little interested, so we'll see how this one does.
Yeah, I think these ones also are one of those episodes that I tell you about where over time they really find an audience. They bring people in from different corners of the world. Like they're episodes that are good for search engines. Like when people search Schramm, like we'll probably pop up and they'll find us that way. So it's good, not so good for immediate numbers, but long term, it helps the show out great. Like the show Masters of Horror, that one still brings people in. And Necromantic, oddly enough, is another one that does. But next week, Moodz, we are doing anthologies. We are kind of switching up the format a little bit here on the show. We're going to try reviewing
right after
2
we
films.
said that we're not going to change anything, so we are lying. But no, this was actually something that we'd come up with, I think, before we even asked people for the feedback and stuff. We were just kind of looking for it was actually it just stemmed from just brainstorming new or just shows, just ideas for main shows, right? So that's how this came about.
Yeah, so we're doing it'll be episode 81, anthologies, and it will not be like a list form like we used to do on the Burial Grounds where we just rattled off titles and talked about them briefly. We're reviewing 2 films that are anthology films, and we kind of picked them at random, but what are we doing, Moodz?
We are doing Nightmares from, I believe, 1983, and we're also doing Body Bags.
John Carpenter, which...
From 90... When did that one come? 91? Something, early 90s,
93.
anyways. 93. It's something like that. But oddly enough, they're both Scream Factory releases. That actually wasn't planned.
No.
I just realized that those are actually both Scream Factory releases now. So, but that is what it is. Yeah, so anthologies, really looking forward to it. I know a lot of people out there love anthologies. One of my favorites, I guess I always say subgenre of horror. It's not really a subgenre. It's just a
style,
different format of horror films, I guess is what you want to say. But I love watching anthologies. They always have so much replay value for me. So
yeah, and
hopefully.
I've actually never seen Nightmares, and I have seen Body Bags, but it's been a long time. So I'm looking forward to revisiting those.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know if you guys, next week when we post that show, let us know if you guys like us covering 2 films for the featured featured reviews, in sort of a theme.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, you're always welcome to, even throw some ideas for shows our way also.
Moodz, glad you mentioned that, because I want to throw out something.
Yep.
I want ideas. I want interesting ideas, not like, hey, you guys should review Crocodile,
Yeah.
not film recommendation. I want show ideas.
Yeah.
Something out there, something different, whatever. The person who comes up with the best show idea, how about we do it?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So, people, be creative. What do you guys think are outside the norm shows?
So are we going to give them a week? So just by next show, whatever the best one is, then you win?
But if there's not a best one, then no, then they just suck.
I guess it actually has to be a good idea. We're not just going to pick the best of what was mentioned.
Yeah. But yeah, sure. Like, if you ever thought of a cool idea, which I've heard a few of them, like, because I even liked Rob from George's idea of doing reading the short story, like kind of reviewing the short story of The Thing, or what is it called? The
Thing from...
I forget what the actual short story is called.
Oh, I actually can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But reading that and then covering The Thing from Another World, John Carpenter's Thing, and the prequel Thing. That's a good idea. I actually like that idea. And if we ever do that idea, I think we should have Rob on the show to actually be there.
I think he'd be really ecstatic about that.
I actually asked him last night, and he was.
Oh, really? Nice.
I mentioned it if we ever do it. Of course, we have tons of... Actually, we don't have tons of shows planned, I'm not going to lie. But we have tons of ideas in the back of our head that are ready to come out at any moment.
Yeah.
We have director spotlights. We have a couple other theme shows that we have planned. We don't know what our next franchise show is.
There always is franchises and director spotlights and stuff. Look for more like, specific themes, like, Western horror themes and like, just things like that. Just like these random sub genre ideas that'll be very cool.
Absolutely.
Even it could even be, like how we did last year with the Italian Horror Month. It could be, a French theme show or whatever. It could be anything. It could be country based. Just put.
Yeah, I want to do maybe a Scarecrow show one day. I would like to do a Evil Parents show one day.
You know what I want to do one day? I want to do Killer Genitals show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Killer vaginas and killer penis.
Teeth.
Man, whoever. I think that would be amazing.
Let's do it.
Killer
Pencil it in.
genitals. Killer. Yes. Do that right
Killer
now.
Genitals 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're definitely going to do more.
There's definitely a
There's
couple.
There's about 7 or 8, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Out there.
I can think of a few right off the top of my head right now. It's actually pretty funny. So,
yeah.
Oddly enough, we just did a show about mutated genitals and things like that.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally down for this. This is actually a good idea. I'm liking these oddball ones. Of course, we have stuff like anthologies, which is very basic, but we can even make the theme more out there. And that's what's cool about these themed episodes is you can do anthologies 2 and anthologies 3 and so on and so on. Like Killer Genitals. When we get to Killer Genitals 4, we'll be digging the bottom of the barrel. Or will we be digging the bottom of the barrel with episode 1? But yeah, man, throw out some ideas. We're always open to different ideas. Don't be afraid, man. Throw it out there. If you are afraid of other people judging your idea and thinking it's stupid, you can always email it to us or PM it to us. You don't have to put it in the group page.
That is right. You can group page it, email, of course, drop us a voicemail, and leave comments on the videos. There's tons of places to do it.
Absolutely.
Just do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, is that all we have?
Yeah, that's our intro.
All right. Well, I guess we might as well get into the news this week. Do we got some news?
Yes. Not much, though. So, first up, I don't know how much horror this is, but it is on bloodydisgusting.com, and it is classified as horror comedy. So, Yoga Hosers. This is Kevin Smith's new movie, part 2 in the Great White North, or the Great North trilogy, or whatever he's calling it. First was Tusk, then Yoga Hosers, and then Moose Jaws in the future, which is the one I'm most looking forward to.
How is Kevin Smith born American? Like, I swear he's like obsessed with Canada.
He really, truly does.
Oh, I know, man. Like, it started with his obsession of Degrassi. He ended up buying the whole fucking original series and shit. He owns the rights to that shit. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers has a July 29th release date. It's going to be a sort of limited release. You got New Orleans, you got Florida, Houston, Columbus, Ohio, Durham, North Carolina, San Jose, California, and San Francisco, California. So just a couple, I'm sure more dates will come sooner. I was actually curious. I didn't know exactly what this was at all, like what it was going to be about. So there is a little bit of a synopsis here.
Okay. First of all, so all those dates,
yeah,
were any of them in Canada?
No, I was actually surprised at that.
So this is the second film in his Great White Northern trilogy, whatever he's doing, but he's not having any Canadian dates.
Not yet.
That seems odd. Doesn't that seem weird? You think you want to showcase it to where it's, being I don't know. That's fucking strange to me.
Yeah. So something that came out the other day was that it originally had an R rating, but it has been bumped up to a PG-13 rating, but for unknown reasons. Like, I don't think there was anything changed.
I guess that is kind of going upwards, right?
Yeah, it depends how you look on it.
Yeah, I guess so. PG-13, that doesn't sound appetizing at all.
No.
What the fuck? But I don't want to watch it. Fucking really? No, because seriously, man, Kevin Smith movies, are generally a lot of dick and fart jokes. But if you're gonna dumb down that, take all that shit out there, and then what do you got left in a PG-13 film?
See,
for a horror film,
Kevin Smith's. I honestly do think that he plays too much into the humor sometimes. Obviously, his comedies are supposed to be humorous, but I'm mainly talking about Tusk. I thought that was a really good movie for the most part, and then I just felt like it just went a little too comedic on a lot of parts, because I actually thought that the subject matter was actually pretty disturbing. And I think if you did play it straightforward, it actually could have been very disturbing.
Yeah, I think that movie would have been very interesting to watch, just totally straightforward. You take out Johnny Depp's character, and you completely cut his character out of the film, and you play the rest of it just brutally honest and straightforward. And you have a different film. It wasn't
even mainly the Johnny Depp's character, because I did like all the jabs at Canada and stuff, because I thought they were subtle enough. It was more like sort of the ending, and I don't know, like there's just
I think it was just more the character wasn't everyone's like cup of tea, I think he just kind of stood out to the point where it was like, well, probably could have done without that character kind of thing.
Well, if he is not everyone's cup of tea, then everyone will probably not like Yoga Hosers, because this plot centers around a 15-year-old yoga enthusiast, two girls who hate their after-school jobs at a Manitoba convenience store, a la Clark's, and one of them is actually played by Harley Quinn, which is Kevin Smith's daughter. Nice. And they team up with Depp's Manhunter character to battle an ancient evil. That's right, Johnny Depp, who will reprise his role as Guy Lapointe.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
From 2014's Tusk. So more Johnny Depp's crazy character. So yeah, honestly, I am interested, because it like.
Well, I think there's a right world to set that character. Maybe this is the right world.
Exactly. This seems more of a comedy, like a best friendy girl power adventure thing.
Thinking back on Depp's character it just seemed a little out of place at times. So I think that's what threw a lot of people off. But I think you throw them into the right world, the right tone and stuff, and utilize it properly. I think it could be effective though. So I think there is something there.
This is very interesting though, that Kevin Smith's daughter Harley Quinn Smith,
Mm-hmm.
who's now 16 years old,
Yeah, that's
is
fucking crazy,
starting her acting career. I mean, this is a starring role, and apparently she's supposed to be in Moose Jaws as a cameo or whatever as well. She was in Tusk as a clerk his films all take place in a similar universe, which as a fan of that style, I think it's awesome. Like I like how Tarantino kind of does that every once in a while and stuff. So I like the idea that all the films are connected in the same world in some way, and these three definitely are. So I'm curious to see Moose
Yeah.
Jaws. I'm curious to see Yoga Hosers, what it's like, and I'm
Yoga
actually
hose
curious to
Moose-
see where Harley Quinn's career goes, because this, she could become pretty big. I have a feeling. Just have a feeling.
Yeah, she might become like a huge Canadian actor, and she's not even Canadian. Just fucking Yoga Hosers, man. That title is just still killing me. It's ridiculous.
So after that, we have the announcement of 20th Century Fox is looking to the past for a future entry in The Omen, which is reported by Bloody Disgusting. Possible prequel is potentially happening. There is a TV show, The Omen. I think it's on already. So
prequel. Oh, fuck.
The only thing that I like about prequels to old shit is sometimes they set it in old times, which I'm a fan of. It's like a period piece.
You like that? You like the prequel, like from Tremors? Tremors 4.
The remake, you mean?
No, it's a prequel.
Oh, not going down that rabbit hole again. So yeah, Damien. Who knows? I've still yet. That's
I mean
that should be our next franchise. I recently picked up the box set, or not picked it up, but I won it in a contest.
I don't really think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not overly the hugest fans of prequels. A lot of the time, like the odd one here and there is interesting. I don't know if I'm getting overly jacked up about a prequel to The Omen. I would
What's
like to
the best prequel ever?
That's a good question.
Did we do top 10 prequels on Top 10 Tuesday?
Nope.
We
did not.
Interesting.
It's an interesting list. No, it's not. That's an interesting question, though. Your favorite or best prequels of all time.
Psycho 4.
Psycho 4 is good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. But getting back to the Omen prequel, I don't know, man, if I really want to see a prequel to that at all.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather see a sequel. I mean, just kind of forget that they made a remake and just make another sequel. I don't know.
I actually can't comment on it because I've not seen any of the Omens.
Oh God, the remake it's not like a horrendous film. It's just not good. It's pretty much it's kind of like the Psycho remake in a way. It's more shot for shot, but it's the casting in the film that's really shitty. Like it's acted shitty in my opinion, and it feels out of place and it feels forced, and I don't know. It's a bad thing. So let's just forget about that, and then just I mean, if they want to go the prequel route, at least it's a prequel to like the original Omen. I'm assuming what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
but I guess a prequel,
which also makes remakes even more pointless. Like that keeps happening.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had a prequel, it could still be a prequel to the remake because there's essentially the exact same story.
Yeah,
So, but let's just say the prequel is going to be to the original. Tremors 4 is a good prequel. It's a good prequel.
No, it's the exact same story, like the remake of whatever. Listen here, dude. So, I mean, the other best prequel out there is Amityville 2. How about that? Throwing them out left and right.
Better than the original film.
It's you mentioned Psycho, the remake. I've always kind of said this when I actually am serious about remakes. I'm actually like rating, reviewing them. You could throw Elm Street into this mix, Psycho, all the bad ones that we don't like. Had the previous films never existed, let's say there was never a Nightmare on Elm Street film, and that came out, the remake, it would probably be pretty good. Like everybody would be like, wow, that was so original and stuff like that, So it would probably be good. It wouldn't be nowhere near as good because it's not that good of a movie compared to the original. So I can't say that they're necessarily bad movies. They're just bad remakes.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. Because there's no matter how you look at it when you watch a remake, as much as you want to separate yourself from, the original film and go in with an open mind, blah blah blah. I mean, you can do it to a point. You're always gonna be, referring or relating that remake back to the
Especially
original
if they
film. You're gonna
remake
be comparing.
specific scenes. Like you
Well,
take the Elm Street remake for example, and I can't wait to cover this series one day
the
because
face in the fucking
yeah,
where
that
Freddy's face comes up through
pisses
the
me
wall.
off more
Well,
than
that's like
anything.
the prime example of a scene in a remake that is outrageously shitty because it looks so much better in the original film, which had like what, a tenth of the budget.
Yeah.
They made this shit with like real latex. It was just shitty effect that really worked. It was effective. It was effective. It looked good.
It's
They
one of the
spent
best
no
scenes
money.
in the movie.
Yeah, and they spent no money on it. I mean, we've watched the Elm Street
Like
documentary. They
I could have
they
literally
did
been
nothing
on
to it.
set of the remake and been like, okay, this CGI thing you're gonna do, fuck that. Hey, can you cut a hole in this wall?
I know it looks so bad,
Hey,
and no,
makeup
and no,
effects department, can you bring a big sheet of latex over here? Hey, you got some
no.
paint? You need to match this white paint.
Then you look over to the left and you see fucking Carl on his computer going, "Oh, I'm out of a job."
Yeah, and then I'll be like, you know what? We're gonna have to dim the lights a little lower, a little lower, because we gotta hide these edges over here.
But that
It's not hard. It's
that,
seriously. I bet it's not that hard.
and those are the scenes that separate yourself, like that kind of separate the film from being a decent one and a good or a bad one or whatever. Is shit like that, because you can't help but compare that to the original. You're like, well, in 1984 they did a lot fucking better and more effective with no money
Dude, I'm
and
telling
latex.
you
And
right
it's like,
now, dude.
how did they
When we
fuck this
get
up?
into this film, when we get into Elm Street remake, we're gonna have an hour-long conversation on Elm Street remake because I have so much to say about it. I see people defend it. Yes, it is not the worst movie in the world.
No, it's not.
It would be a good movie had there not been another Elm Street film ever. But it would not be as amazing. It's not because it's just not that good. But so when I hear people defend it and stuff, it kind of irks me a little bit because there's so many things wrong with it as a remake that it just baffles me. Like I remember people saying like, "Oh, they made it scary again. They took away his one-liners." I'm like, "No, they didn't. Are you watching the same movie as me? I was just petting him."
Yeah.
He's still doing it. He's still doing the one-liners.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nancy. I
Dude,
was just petting him.
I'll never forget it too, man. I saw that film in the theater.
So did I.
With my buddy Dylan. We actually went, and this was when Dylan was just kind of getting more into horror films and stuff, and he wasn't like overly too familiar with, just probably what was good and bad. So he's probably laughing when he listens. He'd be laughing. But I remember we walked out of the cinema, and he was like, "Yeah, I thought it was pretty good." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
I hated it.
I was so fucking mad, and like I think he was so confused on why I had this such extreme distaste for this film. He's like, and I'm thinking to myself the whole time, like, it's not really the worst film in the world, but no matter how you look at it, you can't look at. I always forget the guy's name that played Freddy. I always call him
Haley.
Jackie or I always call him Haley Joe Osment.
Jackie Earl Haley.
I don't know why. I always can think of fucking. But anyways, I thought he was atrocious, to be honest. Like, I thought the makeup looked bad. I think it was just the whole makeup of the whole aesthetics of the character that was bad. He seemed a little pudgy for me and like just odd looking, and the makeup was shitty, and his voice, I don't know, it just.
That's another thing. People always give him like massive amounts of credit. Like they're like, but okay, like it's not the greatest movie in the world, but Jackie Earle Haley's performance was actually pretty good. It's like, nah, it was all right. It was all right. It was not, anything like Robert Englund.
I think that
I think other people could have done better. It was.
I think Robert Englund's portrayal of Freddy came out so natural because it was just, he just kind of thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then, this character, he comes in there and he's like, well, I'm going to try and amp it up. I'm going to be a little more darker in his voice. And all of a sudden he's got this whole Batman thing going on. It's like, what the fuck,
He's
man?
like emo. Like
it sounded off to me. It sounded forced. And I was like, I'm not buying into this. I mean, his character was almost darker than everything in the film. Yeah, it was like it was sinister, but like almost in a comical way, if that makes any sense.
I'm really like one of those people who I will battle with that film forever, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna rate it like a 3 or anything like that, but I just think that anytime I hear a positive argument on the film, I can just counter combat it, like
I
just left and right. Like everything you say positive, I can tell you why you're wrong.
all I wanted from that remake was I didn't care that, Robert Englund wasn't, they were going to generally do, the same story and stuff. They could have used the same story, obviously, but just went a little different route with how it plays out. They basically made another like almost shot for shot remake, with certain subtleties and things like that. The body count is relative the exact same in the original film, and things like that. They should have
set
just
up the same. It's
yeah, it's
some
just
of the characters are the same.
It's exactly what a remake is, in definition. They just remade the film essentially with certain subtleties and things. And I think that's what really bugged me, because I'm not against remakes whatsoever, as long as you're doing something different. You can take the general idea, but just kind of, do your own thing. And I think it was just a missed opportunity.
The Chainsaw remake works so well.
Yeah, and I think it was just a missed opportunity. I think they can use the idea of Freddy, of what he is and where he comes from, what he, not make him a child molester. But
I'm not I honestly, like, I don't hate that, and I'm sure
it bugs me a little bit because after
you have a tattoo of him on your arm.
I know, I have all the characters on me, and then also a fucking week after this movie comes out, everyone's like, "Oh, how do you feel about having a child molester on your arm?" I'm like, fuck, it's not fucking funny, man. Like, honestly, I can usually laugh at everything. I laugh at myself all the time, but I'm like, dude, that's not fucking funny, dude. I stopped wearing sleeveless shirts for a while, man. I'm showcasing this shit around until this dies down. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I was personally, I felt like I was being personally attacked by this, and I was like, but that's not the sole reason. I didn't even think about that too much until it got brought up.
Listen, I'm all for the idea, right? Let's make him a child molester. To make him as dark, and let's have people stop rooting for him, because like, let's make him scary and a bad character again, a despicable person. But the problem with that is you made him the child molester, but then you didn't make him dark and scary and not drop him one-liners. So it is conflicting. You have conflicting ideas. And that's one of my problems. Like, I will tear this film apart. I've watched it a couple times, and I beat for beat, like, I know everything that's wrong with it. Don't let me get started on Nancy, the most blandest, boring final girl ever. Like, her boyfriend was much cooler than her. I cannot believe the girl next door vibe that Heather Langenkamp brings to the table, completely gone with Rooney Mara. She's like, she talks like she has like a literal stick in her ass. Like, she's just like, it's annoying. Like, I don't like her at all.
Just a little mini butt vibrator.
Anyway, let's move on before we fucking review the entire movie.
So what show is this? Is this the Schramm from '93 show? Or is this the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I could go on that one forever.
I know. I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty interesting conversation when we do this franchise down the road.
Yeah, which obviously we're saving it for a special day or something. But, it'll come. It'll come eventually. It'll definitely be a huge show. Because it's probably my second favorite franchise, Mood's favorite franchise. So, yeah. Zombieland 2. Apparently, if you remember a while back, they did the Zombieland film. And then they talked about a sequel for goddamn ever. And then they did a short-lived TV pilot show or something that was on Amazon Prime.
And it lasted the pilot episode?
The pilot, and it didn't get picked up or whatever. Yeah. They recasted everybody.
Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
No, was there anybody notable casted in that?
I don't know. I honestly don't like Zombieland that much. Like, it's okay. But it's much like Shaun of the Dead, and where it's too almost like fourth wall. Well, obviously it is fourth wall breaky because the character talks to the people. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just not overly a fan of those kinds of films.
I had a really good time when I first seen that film, because I went and watched it at the cinema actually with about fuck shit. Jesus, is that necessary to swear that much? No, I think I went with like 8 or 10 people or something, and we're just having a great time. It was just fun, and I don't know. It's just, I think being in that type of setting just really brought it out. And so I'm not overly the hugest fan of it now either. Like, I don't dislike it at all. I probably like it way more than you. Mm-hmm. But I know exactly where you're coming from. But for me, it is so much better than Shaun of the Dead, though.
Yeah, I like it more than Shaun of the Dead too. But anyway, this isn't really like big news. It's just that apparently some sites are saying that it is potentially filming in Atlanta this August. So that's like casting sites are reporting that. So it could be a fluke, like just a mess up, a flub, or it could be legit. But I honestly don't care either way.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's kind of past its time. I think if they had done the sequel right away, like they probably should have, instead of trying to turn it into a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
I think it's just past its time. It's done. Who knows? It'll probably be like the biggest sequel ever when it comes out. Wouldn't that just piss you off?
Yeah.
Shit, that'd be funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be interested if they get back Woody Harrelson, though. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, probably.
I love him. I love him. I wish that guy would do more movies. Actually, he's fun.
So after that, we got a little bit of news that Tom Savini is set to star in From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. He's gonna be in season 3.
Wow.
So that show's still going on strong. I don't know if he will play his Sex Machine character. I'm so far removed because I only watched a couple episodes in the first season that I don't know if they kept going along the path that the original films were. So if he's playing like a similar character, somebody completely different, I don't know. But I did like that show when I was watching it, and I do own the first season. I do want to pick up the second season on Blu-ray and actually watch it. It's a cool kind of way that they did it, where it's like the first season seemed like it was just going to be a remake of the first movie, like throughout a long form with like recasting of all the characters and stuff. It was kind of interesting because the characters weren't like that bad. They actually felt very similar. So it was a little jarring at first, but I was into it. So that's good news for me. We talk about TV all the time and how we're way behind, way out of the loop.
I think that would be cool, man, if he was playing the Sex Machine.
Yeah, an older Sex Machine.
Like an older Sex Machine. I mean, Tom Savini doesn't seem to age that much, though. I mean, he's pretty old. He's pretty old, man. Like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy when you think about it. He doesn't look too much older, but yeah. No, but he's got to play the Sex Machine. That character's iconic, man. The dick gun. Come on, it's amazing.
Yeah. How about this? Goosebumps. The
Goosebumps.
TV show, book series that was before the TV show, and then feature film, theatrical film, happened, and apparently a sequel is going to be happening as well.
Is this one going to have Jack Black in it too? It's honestly the sole reason why I haven't watched the film yet, because I'm really not a big fan of Jack Black. I know people are shutting off the cast now. How can you hate
like
Jack
most people
Black?
Don't like Jack Black, honestly.
Around here, man, everyone fucking sucks the guy's balls. It's like, oh, I love Jack Black. He's so funny in Be Kind, Rewind. And I'm like, no, he's not.
He's all right.
Mos Def was way better in that film, man.
I mean, there's certain things I like Jack Black in, like
I like School of Rock, though. I will admit I like that because that's more up his alley as an actor.
That's actually the movie I hate.
It's funny because he's a musician, right? So that makes a lot of sense, for him to do something like that. I don't know.
Like Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny was pretty cool.
With that, I mean, that's him. He's just playing himself.
I know.
Right?
He was in. What was he in? He was in
Like he's
Airborne.
been miscast.
Remember that
movie? He's been miscast though, man. Like, remember when he was in the fucking King Kong remake?
Yeah.
Like shit like that. I'm just like, why would you?
Remember when
give
he
that
was
job
in
to Jack Black?
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
He
was awesome in that.
I totally forgot about that. So you said that, dude. That is funny as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he's showing up in a lot of random things, man. Oh, what was that stupid fucking comedy, Orange County, that he was in?
Dude, Orange County's cool, man.
We sucked. It was not funny.
I'm a fan of that era of like movies.
I remember renting that film, being so disappointed. I'm like, dude, that shit wasn't funny.
No, it's not really that. No, it's not really funny. It's just
he's actually not even in the movie that much. He just plays he plays himself again in that movie. He just plays the older stoner brother. Although he is cool in High Fidelity, I will give him that, with John Cusack. Have you ever seen that one?
Nope.
The one about the record store and stuff. Yeah, he's cool in that film, man. He's cool in that film.
This sequel is not like confirmed or anything, but the director of the Goosebumps and the writer are looking to close deals with Sony to return the property. It made a lot of money, so chances are it'll happen. I haven't seen it yet, but I've actually heard pretty good things for a kids movie. I heard it's pretty fun, so I'll definitely check that out eventually.
Yeah.
Um, besides that, that's kind of all the main news, but we do have a few announcements for DVDs and Blues. And yeah, so the first one that I thought was pretty interesting, back on that horror TV kick, we have Slasher, which I guess is a chiller TV series. A lot of good, positive things people were saying about it. So
I
that's
haven't
pretty
heard
cool.
I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it.
Yeah. So I
It's
was
crazy. Like,
surprising to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that's coming from Scream Factory. Cool title pickup, honestly, as long as it's not like $50. Like if they could get it for
So
put it out a little cheaper.
so are they releasing did they announce it on DVD and Blu-ray, or is it just Blu-ray?
It is DVD and Blu-ray.
Oh, so people got a choice.
Yeah, which I know you pick up most of your TV on DVD.
I have this
love
weird
TV. It's so much more expensive to buy TV on Blu-ray than DVD.
that,
Like it's way more expensive.
and
But
that's exactly what I do. The only TV series I have on Blu-ray are the ones that I can't get on DVD, like Holliston and the Twin Peaks. Well, you can get on DVD, but I never bought that old box set. But yeah, for the most part, I have everything on DVD, man.
I love TV on Blu-ray. I like it. Sometimes I like it more than movies on Blu-ray. There's just
Oh,
something about
that's crazy talk. You like
dude.
the TV more than the Blu-ray? Well, dude.
Well, so, I don't know. I just because like most new. I'm talking about new TV. Like for some reason when I watch new stuff and it's on DVD, it bugs me. Like obviously,
What
you know,
about TV films on Blu-ray or first DVD?
well, like what?
Like Sharknado.
Well, I'm not gonna watch that.
Why are you gonna? Who's not gonna watch Sharknado, man?
I watch it for the show. I own 1 and 2 on DVD, but I don't care about it enough to buy it on Blu-ray. But I'm saying like, if I watch like if I buy like something, just for example, like Game of Thrones, like I don't want to see it in standard def. This is 2016, baby. We gotta watch this in high def. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
fuck! They
I'm
put
a
that.
big fan of TV on Blu-ray for sure. It actually annoys me, like because I got Scream in a screener, and the one thing that I hated about it was it is a DVD. They did not release a Blu-ray, and I'm like, shit, that shit's in HD on Netflix. You know what I mean? And when I watched it on MTV, it was in HD. This is gonna be a huge step down in quality. And when I popped it in, it does feel like a huge step down in quality. Like
Dude,
obviously,
you
it's still
spoiled
decent
motherfucker, you
quality.
man.
Well, obviously, I am. I live in a world where everything's in HD now. Like, I was watching the fights over a friend's house like 2 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna get him in standard D." I was like, "Standard D? Are you serious?" And
Yeah,
like
see,
the
I'm
whole
worried.
time watching him, I'm like,
Honestly, I'm like that too, man. Like if I can order something like for the fights, I'll always go HD.
"You got
It,
to, dude! It's such a big difference. I
I know
swear to God,
it's so
it
weird.
bugs me so bad.
I'm
People
so
who are
strange.
used to it, they don't notice it, but seriously, dude, it drives me crazy."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, it's just certain things. I have OCD when it comes to things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm weird. I'm weird. I admit
So,
it.
anyway, that's coming out July 12th. Hopefully, hopefully it's not too expensive. Let's see what the pricing is, right? Oh, dude, on screamfactory.com it's only $22.99.
For the
So,
blue,
yeah, for the blue.
what?
So,
Well, the DVD must be like 12 then. Shit,
the
that's a good
DVD
deal.
is $16.99, but that's even on Scream Factory's website. So you're gonna be able to get this for $20. That is an appropriate price. Thank you.
Well, you know what, man? For $20 to get the season on Blu-ray, fuck, why not?
Exactly, bro.
See,
So
it really does come down to a price.
yeah,
You know,
it
money
does.
talks. You know,
Yeah,
one way or the other.
yeah. So after that, they announced something that I thought was really cool. This is Scream Factory as well. I've been waiting for this announcement for quite a while. When they announced Psycho 2 and 3 way back in the day, like 2014, I was like, huh, where's Psycho 4? Why don't I put
Yeah.
out all four, the other three? The other one.
But remember on the fucking Scream Factory Facebook page, I distinctly remember somebody asking when 2 and 3 dropped, they said, "Hey, are you guys going to release part 4?" And they said, "At this time, we can't get the rights or whatever. So we have no
Yeah,
So
see,
we're
that
not.
doesn't
So
make
we're not.
sense because Universal has the rights and they were working with Universal back then. But I think didn't they short was those the last two Universal films that they released and took a break? Psycho 2 and
I'm not
3?
100% sure.
Because they
Um,
remember they
look,
recently, like within the last year, got back with Universal.
yeah, yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe it had kind of shifted. I don't know. Maybe there was something going on with certain things in it or something. I don't know. But I distinctly remember them writing on the Facebook page saying that they had no plans to release it because they couldn't get the rights or something like that. And I was like, oh, so that sucks. We're never going to see part four. And then what was a few months ago, I'm not sure the company in Australia, but they just released a
Umbrella.
Umbrella. Yeah, it was Umbrella. So they released the box set with it on Blu-ray, and I was like, shit, that's crazy. And I remember there was a bunch of people over here that were picking it up, and and then lo and behold, it gets announced over here. So something probably broke, and Umbrella released it first, and then Screen Factory could acquire the rights. Something
Yeah.
had to have happened because they probably couldn't do it before, and who knows? Something obviously happened. I
Yeah,
wonder.
so
I'm
I
curious.
wonder if, honestly, probably once they got back in, what I think probably happened is, they just wanted to see how it played out with Psycho 2 and 3, and save 4 for a later date, like 3 years later. And once they got back with Universal, it was probably one of the titles they were curious with, and they decided to finally go with it now. Psycho. The same thing goes for like Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, right? Like they obviously could have released those for years because MGM, but it's kind of like you don't release everything at once. You know what I mean? So I guess yeah,
I
kind of
read a
hold on
funny
to
ass
them
comment
just
the
for a
other
little
day
bit.
about Jeepers Creepers. Actually, some dude was like, he's like, I'm a big fan of the double features, and he's like, some of your guys' collector's editions don't seem like they should be collector's editions. I'm like, death becomes her,
Definitely, yeah.
and I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then he went on to say, he's like, Jeepers Creepers, man, would have made a perfect double feature,
Yeah,
and
they're
I'm
in
like.
the dump bin right now in Walmart. Go pick
That's
it
what
up.
that's what I said too. I was thinking to myself too. I'm like, there actually is a double feature with that already, but released by.
Yeah, literally, if you would make it a double feature, it would be 100% pointless of a release almost, unless the feature, different features.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I
exactly.
mean, like the collector's editions really are the one selling point for me to pick them up in that in a repurchase way because I own them on DVD.
Yeah.
But Psycho 4, I will happily upgrade to Blu-ray because I love Psycho 4. I really do. I want to see it in HD. I'm cool with that. I'm a big fan of Psycho films. They're films that I don't mind upgrading at all.
No, and I mean the only way to get Psycho 4 here before was in what, the 3-pack, right? With 2, 3, and
Yeah, yeah.
4.
So technically, yeah, it's kind of an even bigger upgrade.
So maybe they'll go like all the way out and they'll release Bates
Bates
Motel,
Motel.
and then we get rid of that 4-pack because they still got to rock that too, just for that Bates Motel.
After that, we have an announcement of Session 9. I've actually never seen that film, but
I wasn't very happy about that today. I know Jeremy was like jerking
ecstatic.
off all over his fucking computer today over that one, but um not really that excited. I honestly, I'm not the hugest fan of Session 9. It's a good film. It's a good film. Don't get me wrong. Jeremy's like in love with it, but that seems like a weird title for them to release. But then again, I sound like a broken record because I've said this a few times in the last few weeks, but I just never thought, Scream Factory would pick something up like that. Seems a little strange.
Yeah,
But
I actually just I've never seen it, so I don't.
it's because it's not like, the way Scream Factory seems to do it, they go with a little older titles or they go with a lot of contemporary titles. This one's like an early 2000s type deal.
It doesn't seem really like cult. Like you look at something like
Well,
Dog
that's
Soldiers,
exactly what I'm
and
getting
it's
at.
like okay, Dog Soldiers fits. It might be modern, like 2002 ish, but it's cult. It got a cult following.
Exactly. Exactly. I think Session 9 is one of those films that
Like Stigmata.
I don't think it's yeah. Stigmata gets a bad rap. It's a film that I would rather not see Scream Factory release, but it's not that bad of a film. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
So after that, this isn't an official announcement, but Jeremy actually shared this. Apparently, Tom Holland was at a convention and was talking about he recently did a commentary track with Shout Factory for Child's Play.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Um,
saw that too, and I was like, "What?"
which actually
Because
kind of makes sense
Well, didn't we reported on this a long time ago how they actually turned down the Child's Play films?
Yeah, so what happened was originally they had the rights to Child from MGM. They had Child's Play 2 and 3 that they, were going to release. And then Curse of Chucky got announced, and then basically they released the box set. So it was like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of us releasing it now? And they just passed on it because it's like, why would we really? What, nobody's gonna buy our releases. But after it came out, they were like, wow, they didn't do it. The people at Scream Factory said that, well, shoot, we should have released it because they didn't really add any special features to 2 and 3, which I don't know if they did or how many or what, but it might not have been a lot if they did. And that's kind of what happened. They just passed on it, and they kind of regretted passing on it. But I figured that they would. Honestly, what I thought, and this is why I never bought that box set. I was like, I'm not gonna buy the box set because the only films that I care about in that box set, I already own Part 1 on Blu-ray. I care about 2 and 3. Do not care about Bride and Chucky or Seed of Chucky on Blu-ray, and I already own Curse of Chucky on Blu-ray. So that really limits the box set for me only getting 2 films that I really care about, and the others are double dipping. So I was like, I bet that Scream Factory will wait their time, wait a few years, because, you can re-release shit every few years and make bank on it because people will rebuy it. So I figured that that's what they would do. And but what I didn't expect was them to release the first Child's Play, which, by the way, if they release these Child's Play,
and now you're forced
films,
to buy it because you buy all the Scream Factory releases.
But I would buy it. See, there's a different.
Now
the
you're
thing
gonna
with
have
me,
two
though,
Child's Play Blu-rays.
Yeah, but see, it's different for me because, one, it will be a collector's edition, and right away, new cover art is a thing that I like, and then two, that means new special features. Which, if it's a film that I care about so much, like Child's Play, which I really like, and I think is awesome, I always want to know more information about Child's Play, and that goes with Chainsaw 2 and any other film that I really like. There's certain films that if it's a new super edition, then I'll check it out. I'm happy to buy it.
Super edition. I like that. That just sounds so amped up. That super edition. Yeah, the first thing came into my mind was like this big lenticular with legs and muscles, and I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
But I don't know. So I mean, if they are releasing the first Child's Play, since MGM owns Child's Play 2 and 3, I would assume that those would probably be eventually released as well.
And which they'll drop those into a double feature.
No
you don't
way.
Think so?
No.
You think they'll go the sleepaway camp
collector's route edition?
Yeah, and do 1, 2, and 3 in collector's editions.
I do think they will.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing that.
It's either that or a box set.
They know those things are gonna sell. People like the Child's Play franchise.
Hell yeah, dude, they're cool. I mean, Child's Play is an awesome franchise. It's made my top 10.
It was in my top 10 too, man. I'm even a fan of Bride of Chucky, man. I know it gets like really silly, but there's some moments.
Bride of Chucky is a good movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it definitely is a good movie. But that's something interesting to keep an eye on. I'm almost certain that it's true based on what I've poked around and looked at.
It probably is,
but not official yet. So after that Scream Factory news, we have some Criterion news. Carnival of Souls is going to be released on Blu-ray July 12th. Pretty cool stuff. I've actually never seen the original Carnival of Souls. I did own the remake on VHS back in the day.
The remake?
Which I never watched. Or I would try to watch, and I never could get into it as a kid.
Yeah, the original Carnival of Souls, man. I love that movie. It is so good. So good.
I'll definitely be checking that out eventually.
Hail to... Well, yeah, so what, Criterion? But apparently, on the Blu-ray, they're not releasing both versions on the Blu-ray. See, they've released Carnival Souls on DVD before, and it comes with the theatrical and like the extended cut or whatever.
Oh, really?
And I believe the Blu-ray does not have the extended. It's just the theatrical cut. And I was like, that is strange because they released the other one. So I don't know why they wouldn't just put
The
it on the
only
Blu-ray.
thing that I could think of is if there's a drop in quality in that extended footage.
Yeah.
And since they're Criterion, they can't pull like a My Bloody Valentine where they're like, the quality of this movie is gonna shift up and down or whatever.
But the thing is, I think people understand though. I mean, it's a public
Yeah, but
domain
it's
film,
Criterion.
but
They're
it's also
probably
it's also public domain, and you have to realize that too. It's like, I hear some people always complain like, oh man, Night of the Living Dead Blu-ray looks like shit, and I'm just like, well, I'm like, it's a public domain, man.
Who
People
put
just
out the Night of the Living Dead Blu-ray?
some company in the UK did.
Yeah, well,
Also, Umbrella.
You know why that
Umbrella
becomes a
just
problem,
did one too,
right?
though. Umbrella just did one
Just
too.
because it's public domain doesn't mean that, like, obviously I can release Night of the Living Dead because it's public domain. But at the end of the day, you still need a print of Night of the Living Dead.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Which, not a print, but a negative or whatever the inner positive, whatever you're going to use, not just like.
Yeah, and you want a good source. And that's the thing.
So I believe Dimension actually owns the good print or the good negative or something, whatever it is.
For Carnival of Souls?
For Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, for Night of the Living Dead, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what Umbrella used, but I know they'd released it before or whatever, so they who knows. Apparently it does look better than the one that the UK released, so I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I ordered that double disc. It actually comes with the Night of the Living Dead original and the remake on Blu-ray. And the cool thing about it is that the way they did the cover arts on it, when you just flip the case around, you have cover art on both sides. So that's kind of different. But so I couldn't pass it up, man. It was like only like $2 or $3 more than the regular Night of the Living Dead edition. I was like, hey, yeah, got to go for that. So can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So after that, finally here we have Film Chest Media. They're going to release a 3-disc DVD set. This is 12 sci-fi B movies of the late 20s, or from the 20s all the way to the late 60s. At first I thought this was Blu-ray, which I thought would have been cool, but it does look like it's just DVD. Seems like some of these films are public domain, I think. You have Teenagers from Outer Space from 59, Metropolis from 27, The Amazing Transplant Man from 60, The Giant Gila Monster from 59, The Phantom Planet from 61, Destroy All Planets from 68, which somehow we passed up on our 1968 show.
Which one was that?
Destroy All Planets.
Oh, Destroy All Planets, okay. Yep.
Gamera, the flying turtle falls under it's a Gamera movie. The Atomic Brain from 63, The Brain That Wouldn't Die from 62, The Killer Shrews from 59, Phantom from Space from 53, The Wasp Woman from 59, and Attack of the Giant Leeches from 59. So you can probably find pretty much all of those films like everywhere.
I have pretty much every film in there already, so
I have a few of them myself.
I wonder what cut of Metropolis is going to be, because there's like 8 different cuts of that film. Yeah, so you never know what you're getting.
That's all of the news.
Alrighty. All right, so getting into mood swings and the DVD and Blu-ray releases for May. We're into a different month. May 3rd, 2016. And I have to say, man, just scrolling through May's releases so far, not that much. There isn't that many releases that are coming out this month. So it's a very, very slow month. It's even actually the slowest month for Scream Factory in such a long time. They're only releasing 6 films this month. It's a slow month. And as a matter of fact, this is just my opinion, but this is by far the worst releasing month for Scream Factory in the history of Scream Factory. The quality of titles that they're releasing. But
I am interested in a few of the contemporaries, though.
A couple of them sound okay, but it's like all contemporary. There's one collector's edition and one older film I'm really interested. The rest are contemporaries, but we'll see. Anyways, first up here, we have a film on Blu-ray being released by Dark Sky Films, and it is called Emily. Yeah, I don't know, man. You looking at this cover right now?
Yeah, Jeremy said it was really good.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So it says the babysitter's here, and it's got like a porcelain doll with a head broken on it. So who knows? It could go either way, I guess. I don't know.
I think I heard other people say it was good too. So
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it is Dark Sky. They're pretty good at releasing. Like, most of their contemporary titles are pretty good. They
yeah,
do. I mean, they released Hatchet 3. Look, we're talking about that pregame. Hatchet 3 kicks ass. I don't care what anyone says. I
they've
watched
released
that.
a lot of good stuff, dude.
Yeah, I watched that shit again the other night, man, because I was fucking lazy and had Netflix on. I just clicked on it. Yeah, it's good, man. It's so much fun. Next up here is the first one from Scream Factory, and it is called Sharkansas Woman's Prison Massacre. Yes, man, it is a
I
shark
think it's
film.
Sharkansaw.
What did I call it?
Is it You said Sharkansas? Or is it Sharkansas?
It is.
Sharkansaw? Sharkansas? I guess it is Sharkansas.
Yeah, Sharkansas.
Whatever it is, it's stupid.
It's Sharkansas Woman's Prison Massacre. So, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. You got sharks killing women in their prison. Oh my god, it's fucking great. Not really, but But yeah, that was when Scream Factory announced that one. I was like, really? Like, that just seems so out of left field for them to release a shark film. But might as well jump on the bandwagon, right?
If you can get it for $10, maybe it's worth. I mean, I know people like those shitty shark movies, so
I love them. I love them. I was just shocked that they were releasing that. It just blew my mind. Next up here from again Scream Factory, we've got Submerged, which is part of their IFC Midnight line,
which is the one IFC Midnight contemporary film that I actually was looking forward to. I'm a sucker for contained horror. I actually heard the director of this on a podcast recently, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And he's the guy that I think he did Under the Bed. He did Silent Night, Automaton Transfusion. He's done some films. Yeah,
I liked
the Banshee.
I liked Under the Bed.
Yeah, you did actually. So yeah. I'm curious on this one. I like films like this. So
Scream of the Banshee's not that great. Silent Night's not overly that great.
I liked it more than you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those films that it's like a moment film. It has good moments. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this one does look actually kind of cool. I'm a big fan of like these underwater type films. Like I'm a big fan of Leviathan, things like that. So maybe it's probably not on that level, but who knows?
No, I think it's people. Isn't it like people get stuck in a car that's like half submerged in water or something?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I thought just by looking at the cover.
Oh yeah, a limousine joyride goes berserk in the breathless, pulse-pounding thriller that stars ex-soldier turned bodyguard hired to protect a young woman. But while cruising with a group of friends one night, their stretch limo is run off the road into the water by a gang of ruthless kidnappers who dive in to finish the job. Suddenly, it's sink or swim. The bodyguard must fight to keep the vehicle from becoming a watery grave.
So it's another one of
these
like
films? A thrillery type thing.
Yeah.
But I like premises like that. I
just watched a movie like that actually on Netflix not too long ago.
Maybe it was that one.
No, it wasn't that one. It had a different title. But next up here from Image. Image is getting into the double feature game, I guess. I don't know. They're releasing a double feature of Odd Thomas and Burying the X. Okay, explain that to me.
No.
That's a weird...
There's no theme to it. It's just two films that they own.
I know, it's just so weird. And then they've got another one coming out with Stranded and Way of the Wicked. Way of the Wicked has Christian Slater in it. Oh, actually, they both have Christian Slater in it. Oh, there's the theme. There's the theme. But yeah, those are from Image, so...
Maybe there's a theme on the other one that we haven't picked up on.
Maybe. From E1, this one actually made me laugh, the title of it, called Blood Sombrero.
I would have preferred Bloody Sombrero, but Bloody Blood.
I know, Blood Sombrero. It sounds wrong. It should be Bloody Sombrero. That's way better. But yeah, so we got some Mexican horror. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's like Barrio Tales. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, it's very, very slow with the releases here, man. We got another one from Image. So Image is stepping up their game again. And this one right here, of course, has to be on today's list. The Haunting of Alice D.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's like every fucking week, man. The Haunting of insert name.
Honestly, though, honestly, I think that the cover is better than expected.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I will give him that.
We got a quote. I love reading these quotes. Genuine Chills, a hugely impressive film, says Horror Asylum.
You know what, man? I do that at the end of my videos a lot. I'll read the quotes on a film, and I'll just make fun of the quotes if I didn't like the film. And
I
shit,
do.
so.
I always am a fan of quotes.
Yeah, some of them just crack me up because they're just so absurd sometimes. But
Still waiting to get our quote.
yeah, The Haunting of Alice D. Jesus, man, they're getting so lazy they're not even giving her a last name. She's just Alice D, man.
Alice D's nuts.
Yeah, Alice on D's nuts. Yeah, it's probably Alice Davidson or some bullshit like that. But anyways, next up here we've got one from Ominous Entertainment called The Mirror. That's right, The Mirror. What the fuck? You can't get any more generic sounding. Oh man, even the cover is super generic, man. This is just awful. What's up with this shit? Where's all the fucking releases? Anyways, we got one. Next one up here is from Dark Sky Films. Now, when I first read the title, I was like, oh god, that sounds stupid. Then I saw Dark Sky was behind it. I'm like, you know what? It could be okay. And it's called Cerzo Diabolico. Cerzo Diabolico. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. Cerzo Diabolico. I don't know. Chick on the cover with a skull in her hand and a baseball bat. Where's the funny quotes on this one? There is none.
Oh, well, that explains that.
That's shitty, man. We need one. We just can't go on. It says Twisted Thrillers, so who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that is pretty much it for the releases. There's like nothing.
Whoa.
May is slow.
There really isn't nothing.
It's kind of like the calm before the storm.
Anything. There really isn't anything.
It's like the calm before the storm, because I know there's a lot of stuff coming out in June, July, and August. I mean, Scream Factory is just starting to announce their Summer Fear titles and things like that. So it's going to get out of control with Scream Factory, but then, in the summer, all these other companies. So it will pick up. But man, this month is...
Damn it. I got like so much stuff.
It's really fucking dead. Really dead. Yeah, man. So for release of the week... I know, man. I was thinking about this. I was kind of like, where do I go with this, man? Like, I don't even know what I would base my pick on, considering I have not seen one of these films.
There's a few ways we can go with this. We can base it on Jeremy's review, or not even review, but Jeremy telling me and then me telling you.
So word of mouth.
One that I'm interested in, or one that is, well, that's it. There's nothing else.
Well, honest to God, man, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go by a company I relatively do trust, because I think it probably is the best one. And we do have sort of some insight that it's decent too. I mean, Jeremy, he has his moments. Sometimes he likes shit a little more than us, like Unfriended.
Yeah, and I'm gonna even second you on that, because it's also the cheapest of the potential candidates.
Oh, interesting. All right, so I'm gonna go with Emily from Dark Sky Films. This one actually does look pretty decent, and if Jeremy's saying it's okay, I mean, that is gonna be what you're gonna pick up this week.
He didn't even say it was okay. He's like, dude, you need to check out Emily. It's only $10.
That's crazy. So the Blu-ray's only $10?
Yeah,
and the DVD's $24.98.
Yep, it is here.
What the fuck? $10? No, that's what on Amazon.com is. Yeah. Blu-ray. So now they are trying to get you to buy those Blu-rays.
Why even release a DVD?
That's got to be a fucking misprint there. That's not right. But $10 for the Blu-ray? Yeah, can't go wrong. Emily is your choice this week. So, yeah.
All right, that is...
Talk about a week of releases. A week of releases. I was trying to get that out and I just couldn't do it, so I just kept repeating week. week. My brain was trying to get it out, and I was like, hey, if I just keep repeating it, it might sound funny, but it just got repetitive and annoying. So, but yeah, that's gonna do it for the DVD and Blu-ray releases for May 3rd, 2016. And make sure that you run out and buy all of those awesome releases this week, because that's what us collectors do. We just like to burn money.
Yeah.
But JP, do we got any voicemails or questions this week? I don't think... Did we have any written questions this week?
We have one that we're gonna do in knowledge.
Okay.
I'm not sure about anything else. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think, but I know we got some voicemails, so let's get into those
Yes.
calls.
So
Let's get into those calls.
we have some voicemails. Let's just go with the one at the top of the list in an alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Hey, Moodz, fuck you, man. This is Matt Mills, your worst nightmare. I just called to say you're fucking pathetic, and you're a winner, and you suck, man, and you're gay. And I don't know who you think.
Did he just call me gay?
Vanilla Ice or something. Fuck you, man. You say yeah, and oh yeah. You I don't know. You like rap music. I don't know what your problem is, but I say you suck and you're pathetic. And you're so bad, I wouldn't even listen to your show myself. I had my boyfriend do it. I mean, I had my friend do it, Scott Wilson, and he got your number from the show. I don't listen to the show; it sucks, just like you. And Wilson said that you're cute now because you shaved your beard, and that's why he follows you and bothers you. But fuck you, and yeah, you suck. And I'm only down with exploding heads, so fuck you, my man. Hey, I thought my last question was okay, so I'm going to do a new one. Same question, but new. Let's talk about directors. How about your favorite director's best movie and worst movie, and it's still your favorite, and take your second, third, and see what goes on there. So that's all I got. I'm filling in the shit for Brandon because he don't call no more, so I'm going to call. So later, guys. Peace.
All right, so Moodz, interesting question from Dave. So first, we need to establish three of our favorite directors. Top three ish. So what do you got? Who's your top three? I'm say Fulci.
Yes.
Carpenter.
I don't know. I've actually never really made a top 10 directors list. I just know who my favorite is. So I would probably have to throw Carpenter's definitely up there for me.
Argento?
Argento's way up there for me.
Okay, so you want to go with Carpenter, Argento, and Fulci then?
I think what I'm going to do, though, I'm going to go with Fulci. I'm going to go with Fulci, Bava, and Carpenter.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so let's take Fulci's best film. What would you attribute that to?
Well, my personal favorite film is The Beyond. So we'll go with that one.
And his worst. We'll stick to horror.
Yeah, one of my least favorite horror films that he has is Manhattan Baby.
Okay, so Manhattan Baby. Okay, now what was the other one? Bava? What's his best?
Oh man, that's such a hard question. I'd probably have to go with Black Sunday.
Black Sunday. Okay. Worst?
Oh man. That's the thing about Bava with horror films. I don't think Mario Bava's ever made a bad horror film. I think it's actually really strange if you look at his filmography, and like he's dipped into other genres, but as for horror, he's never made a bad horror film.
So let's go with least good.
So I would probably say maybe, oh man, I don't want to get myself into trouble on this one, but I probably have to go with maybe Barren Blood.
Okay.
And I still love the film though. That's the crazy thing. So
who was the third one? Carpenter?
Carpenter.
Okay. Best film, The Thing?
The Thing.
Worst film, Village of the Damned. Or
wow, that's interesting. Worst film by John Carpenter. Man, you know what? I might even have to go with Village of the Damned.
That's my least favorite that I've seen. So yeah. So does that change anything?
No. It really doesn't. Honestly, with Fulci and
They have
Bava
such big filmographies.
and Carpenter, they have such there's so many strong films in there, man. Like I love The Fog so much. I love Escape from New York, Christine, Prince of Darkness. They live in the mouth of madness, which I find is to be just criminally slept on by fans. It's such an amazing piece of cinema.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I said Christine, but
All right, we'll do mine, which Carpenter is my favorite, probably. So let's go Carpenter. We'll go Craven, and let's go Romero. Yeah, we'll go Romero. Even though he's not my third favorite, probably because I haven't seen a lot of his other films besides his Dead films. So I don't know, but we'll just go with him for now. Carpenter, my favorite film is The Thing. Least favorite is Village of the Damned. So you remove those, you still got Halloween, you got The Fog, you got Christine, you got They Live, Prince of Darkness, all the other ones he did. Craven, you take his best film, probably Elm Street. His worst film, probably The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. I think. What do you think Wes Craven's worst film is? No. I don't know. It's Swamp Thing I don't really care for either.
oh man,
But I think Swamp Thing's at least a little better made.
Wes Craven's worst film, man, directed film. Maybe I don't know if I want to say that. I don't think that one's that bad. Have you seen Cursed before?
Yeah, I like Cursed.
And we're talking horror. Maybe Chiller?
I haven't seen Chiller. That's one of the two that I haven't seen of his.
Because honestly, most of his films are pretty good. I mean, The Hills Have Eyes 2 is definitely a runner in there. It's a pretty bad
I really
film.
don't like that movie at all. It's just so choppy and shittily made. So Romero, best film, Day of the Dead. Worst film. What the hell is his worst film?
Maybe Survival of the Dead.
Yeah, definitely. That is his worst film.
Oh, that movie's horrible.
So does it change anything? Not with Carpenter. He's still number one. Craven, removing Elm Street really does affect him a lot. But
it does actually. That is interesting.
Removing it actually affects him a lot. But removing Day of the Dead also affects Romero a lot.
Yeah. But it's hard for me because I'm like, because he still has Night and Dawn.
Yeah, which are potential 10 out of 10ers.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I mean, he's got a lot of other really solid films.
Romero potentially has 3 10 out of 10s. Like, there's not really many directors you can say that with.
No, there really isn't.
Craven, I don't even know if he has a 10 out of 10 in his filmography.
Probably not.
Because as much as I love Elm Street, it has a bad ending, which does hurt it. But Scream is really good to me. You still have Last House and Hills Have Eyes and People Under the Stairs in there.
Oh, and George and Romero's also got Martin,
and
which
Creep
is
Show.
Just so fucking good. Martin is such an amazing film. Yeah, and Creep Show, and he's got a lot of good films, man.
Romero really does have an underrated filmography when you really think about it. I think it's because you focus so heavy on his later films, not being nowhere near as good as he was, and it really does kind of skew your judgment a little bit because, man, I mean, his filmography is great in that early section.
I honestly really even like Bruiser. I know Bruiser gets some negativity, here and there and stuff. I think it's actually a pretty decent film. So, and it's one of his later ones. It came out in 2000. That was the first film he had done since I believe The Dark Half.
Let's try this one real quick, okay? So we got Ty West, Adam Green, and Rob Zombie. Let's remove their best and their worst. and see where they stack up. So who do you like the best out of those? I'd say Rob Zombie,
Out of who again? Rob Zombie.
Ty West, and Adam Green.
Rob Zombie.
And then Ty West or Adam Green.
I'd probably go with. Damn, that's a tough choice, actually. Shit, that's a really Ty West and Adam Green. Fuck me, man. That's a tough one. I'd probably go with. Going to go with Ty West.
Okay, so Rob Zombie, you take his best film, which is The Devil's Rejects. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, you remove that, and his worst film, which is probably Halloween 2.
Yeah.
So you're left with House of a Thousand, Lords of Salem, and Halloween. He didn't do anything else, did he?
No, that's everything. Unless you want to count his
El Super Beasto.
His animated film too.
Yeah, sure, why not? Then you have Adam Green, Ty West. His best film is
probably House of the Devil.
And his worst film is
what is his worst film?
Cabin Fever 2?
I guess so. I mean, he's only done 5 films?
He did. Yeah. Well, what's Rob Zombie done? 5?
Yeah, I guess so, right? You know what? I'm actually gonna change it. I'm gonna change this, man. I'm gonna say Ty West's favorite or best film is The Sacrament.
I agree with that. That was my pick, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say The Sacrament. I forgot about that for a second because So I'm gonna say Sacrament. I know Dave is just screaming right now, going "Fuck you!" Sacrament sucks. But no, I'm gonna say The Sacrament's his best film, and for his worst film, I'm definitely gonna have to go with Cabin Fever 2.
Okay, so that leaves Adam Green. His best film, Frozen. You agree or disagree?
I agree. Yeah.
His worst film, Chillerama.
The short and Chillerama.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So does that change anything? So with Ty West, you still got House of the Devil. You got what was his other one? The Innkeepers.
Yeah, The Innkeepers, The Roost, which I really enjoyed. I honestly like all those
and
films.
His ABC's of Death segment.
And
his VHS segment.
His VHS segment sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's one of the best segments in there.
I don't know, man. I really don't. No, I'm not a big fan of it.
I like it.
I can't remember what his ABC's of Death one is. What M for Miscarriage?
Miscarriage. I like Miscarriage. I know you guys didn't, but I thought it was one of the cooler segments in there.
Yeah, I know which one it is now. Okay.
So you got the Roost. You got House of the Devil. You got Cabin Fever's out. The Innkeepers VHS segment, which is Second Honeymoon, ABC's of Death segment, M is for Miscarriage, and his The Sacrament is cut out. So that's what you're left with. And Adam Green, you have
Hatchet,
Spiral. You have the Hatchet 1 and 2, not 3.
Yep.
And you have, what do you have there? Digging Up the Marrow.
Digging Up the Marrow, which I have not seen still.
Yeah, that's problematic a little bit.
that is a little problematic, actually.
But I haven't seen some of Ty West films. What do you think, though? Do you think Spiral, Hatchet, and Hatchet 2 are strong enough to put him ahead of Ty West? He was your third favorite. No,
I don't think so.
So The Roost, House of the Devil, and The Innkeepers is better than what Adam got.
Man, these questions really fuck with your head, man. It's crazy. I do actually, because I think that I love The Roost and I love House of the Devil. I have obviously problems with the ending a little bit, like the very, very end, not like, the pre-end. You know what I'm saying? We talked about this before. But I think The Innkeepers is very much kind of the same. Yeah.
All right.
But Rob Zombie though, man. I mean, really, you take out, his best and his worst, and you're still left with like House of 1,000 Corpses, Halloween,
and Lords.
Which, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, those are still 3 good films. Yeah.
That's solid, man.
So I think Adam Green would get bumped up, and partially due to Digging Up the Marrow. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Ty West, I have not seen The Innkeepers though. But The Roost, I do like, but it's to me it's not like fucking super amazing. And The House of the Devil, I actually just am like I don't love it either. So Adam Green still has Spiral, which to me is the best film out of if you take the films left in Ty West filmography, I think it's better than all of them.
Interesting.
But that's obviously just me. I'm a big fan of Spiral.
See, I always find that Hatchet 2 is super, super overrated. Like, I'm not overly the biggest. It's definitely my least favorite in the Hatches franchise, or Hatches trilogy. I shouldn't say franchise, but it's not like I dislike Hatchet 2. I don't know. I'm just not overly the biggest fan of it.
See, I like it 3, 2, 1. I like 3 the best. I like 2 the second best, and I like 1 the least best.
Yeah, I might be thinking towards I like part 3 the best too, man. It might go 3, 1, 2 for me.
So, interesting question, Dave. Thanks for doing it. We played a little extra round. That's because we liked it so much. Those are fun. Those are fun.
We spent some time on that.
Yeah. So, moving on here, we got another voicemail. Let's roll with it.
All right, what's going on, everyone out there in the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror Universe? This is your favorite shoe, Jeremy, and I just want to wish everybody, well, mainly just Brandon, a happy Passover. That is about all that I have to say.
What the hell's a Passover?
Phone calls mainly only for Brandon, but if you are Jewish, happy Passover. But I think me and Brandon are the only ones. So, question for this week, I don't know. What's your favorite soup? There you go. That's a great question. What is your favorite soup? My favorite soup is cream and chicken rice. And I want to know what your favorite soup is.
You seriously couldn't think of a horror question?
I wanted to say happy Passover to Brandon. I hope everybody's doing well. I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
So what's your favorite soup?
Broccoli cheese, man. Cheese broccoli. I love it. So good.
Cheese broccoli?
Yeah, dude. It's so good.
Ew. That's disgusting.
No, it probably sounds worse than it is. It's fucking good, man. It's really good. It's like saying like
broccoli.
Oh, it's not like you're getting like huge, massive chunks of broccoli in it. Come on.
I don't
It's good.
think I like cheese soup either.
Ah, it's so good.
Mine's matzo ball soup.
That's good.
I was just joking. I don't even know what that is. I just know it's Jewish.
Matzo ball is fucking good, man. Matzo balls are good.
No, my favorite soup, honestly, because I don't like soup. I don't really ever eat soup at all. But it is tomato soup, but only with grilled cheese. So that's like the only soup I really eat.
Tomato? So fucking boring.
Yeah, but not boring when you got fucking grilled cheese, jalapeno sandwiches up in that bitch.
I guess not. You dip that shit in there, man, and just it's like a fucking party, man.
Exactly. So
I like to put chunks of cheese in my in my tomato soup with croutons.
See, people like that, and I don't. I don't like that.
I like putting croutons in there too. It's weird, but I like it.
All right, let's move on here. We got a voicemail coming in next.
Yes, y'all. It's going down right now. Episode 80 of the 22 Shots of Moodz Horror Podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, M to the double ODZ. And of course, I've always got my hetero life mate with me, the General of the Mexican Militia, Double Shot J, a.k.a. JP. What's up, homie?
What's going on, guys? Moodz, man, those introductions are fucking hilarious. I look forward to those more than probably most of the things because it's so funny. It always makes me laugh. And JT, you're awesome too, man. Just coming to you with a question. I was just wondering if you guys could own the rights to any horror film franchise, which one would it be? Why? And what would you do with it? Would you do like any special releases, box sets? Would you make a sequel to any of the movies? So, yeah, guys, just wondering what you guys think. The show is awesome. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, by the way, I can't believe I didn't even tell who the hell I was. This is Matt the Horror down in Sin. I thought I could
first time caller there. Did you catch what his name was? Because I missed it.
Well, thank you, MOOD to the Z.
That was his name.
Man, he had that shit word for word.
I know, and like I say, man,
Like,
it's usually one shot with these guys. Like he didn't call back a bunch of times fucking up until he got it right. You know, that's one go.
he said that was the horodontist.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, yeah.
You know him?
I do, and I can't think of it though. It's weird. I know the name, but I can't put I don't know. It's weird.
I always
yeah.
like getting new people because it's like, okay, there's other people listening to us besides the same 15 who comment and voicemail every week.
Well, at least someone appreciates those ridiculous intros and stuff.
Yeah, I always like them. I think they're cool. You know, I think that's
But to take the time to learn it word by word, now that's impressive. It's impressive.
Well, I mean, it is, but at the same time, you know, how many times
I do it
you've
every
probably
week.
Heard it.
Yeah, I do it every week. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I myself, I don't even forget it.
Yeah, like
know,
I
that's
think
how
I
often
could probably do it as well.
Probably. I mean, shit, I already did it once today.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Interesting
Fran-
question.
It was if we could own the rights to any franchise, what would it be? Okay, you can obviously go. I can obviously go Friday the 13th because it's my favorite franchise. But I don't think Friday the 13th is really in the most shit right now. Chainsaw, it's doing fine the way it is. Halloween, getting a little problematic there, but it's still got life to it. It can walk on its own. However, there's one franchise that needs my help more than any, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I would save that franchise because it is at its lowest. It's what do you do with it? What are you gonna do? Another, potential candidate would be the Hellraiser franchise, but no. Right now we're focusing on the Elm Street franchise. First thing I would do, Robert Englund is still alive. Let's do one more, buddy. We're going to bring the band back together. We're going to do it again, brother. And when we do it again, brother, we're going to be serious, Robert Englund. And we're going to go back to the original concept, which was that Freddy was an old, creepy man. I like that concept.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally what Wes Craven wanted when he had that night where he looked out his window and saw that creepy man staring up at him. That's where his envision of Freddy eventually became. So we're gonna go that way. We're gonna get Robert Englund back for one more. And if Robert Englund, if we can't get him, we can go another way. That's fine. You don't have to have Robert Englund to do it. There is a way to make a successful Elm Street without Robert Englund. You do not do CGI walls and remake scenes that are better the way they were. You do something different, and there's plenty of ideas. I mean, the nightmare sequences alone can be so much more imaginative than they were in the remake. I do give credit to some things, like when everything turned to ash and shit. That was pretty cool. But yeah, basically you need people who have a high imagination. Maybe pick Clive Barker's brain a little bit. Hey, what would you think about taking a spin at writing an Elm Street film? That's what I would do. And finally, but not least finally, I would reinstate that sequence in which we just found out that happened. I would put it on a special edition Blu-ray somewhere that existed on a Laserdisc, where it was a deleted scene of Nancy finding out that she had a sibling.
In fact, everybody. Awesome. I think we knew some of that though, but that's
I actually didn't know that, and it's crazy that that's been everybody seemed pretty surprised about that, considering it did exist. I know it was out in the public, it was on the Laserdisc.
Except for Laura from Body Bag, she was like, "I've known about this forever. I have it on a special edition DVD or something." She said, "I was like, it must be some random UK edition or something like that." Yeah. I'm like, "That's fucking crazy," but I'm like, "This is my favorite franchise. How did I not know about this?"
Yeah,
it just bypassed me big time.
I thought that was definitely interesting. So I would put that, do some special edition commentaries on, release the whole box set, but that is not all. This is why you want me. You want to get me these rights, peoples, because I will do a release of, that's right, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the series TV show, Freddy's Nightmares. Boom, boom. Drop the mic.
There you go.
What you got, Moods? I just
Yeah.
stole your thunder by taking your franchise and doing massive amounts of awesomeness with it.
Yeah, but it wasn't actually my choice though, because I mean I had some pretty high hopes and pretty cool things I was gonna do with that, but you dropped the mic, man. You fucking stole that shit. So I'm thinking maybe if I could own a franchise, somehow I just acquired the fucking Dead franchise, because there's major issues with the Dead franchise. People have always complained like we'll never see a box set of the Dead franchise and stuff, because the film, I mean, we got Night of the Living Dead, Public Domain, we got Dawn and Day, and then we got all the other ones. They're all released by different companies. Everyone owns a piece of this fucking franchise. It's terrible, but lo and behold, I have the money. I own it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the people what they want. I'm going to give them the ultimate box set. You know how we have like the ultimate Dawn of the Dead set?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're going to get the whole Dead franchise, huge box set, and we're going to have all the Dawn of the Dead cuts on Blu-ray. We're going to have everything, man. We're going to have all the different versions of Night of the Living Dead on there,
even the version where they went and shot new footage like 20 or like 40 years later.
Everything. We're going to have every single edition. So it doesn't matter. You buy the box set, you get them all. All on Blu-ray. New commentaries, because Romero is still alive and he can definitely speak on some shit, and it's going to be awesome.
Can he smoke cigarettes on the commentary?
He can smoke anything he wants.
Okay, good.
So, but yeah, we're going to have everything. I mean, it's just one thing that, it just kind of, it's always a downer conversation when you hear people are like, I would love to have a Dawn of the Dead box set, but it'll never happen. It just will never happen. It's more of a long shot than we always thought that, we'll never see a Halloween box set, but that was definitely more of a shot, wasn't there? Of getting that.
Yeah, because it was really, the franchise was only split a little bit.
Exactly. This one is just
3 companies it was split by.
Yeah, see, the Dead franchise is all over the place, and there's all these different cuts and stuff, and then we release them all on Blu-ray. And
what about the remakes? Are you gonna throw in the?
Oh, it's gonna be
the Savini remake.
It's gonna be the ultimate box set. Yes, it will have this.
What are you gonna call this box set?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. The Dead is Alive. I don't know. Because I mean, seriously, it is alive, because everything is coming to life. But no, yeah, it will have the Savini remake in there. It'll even have the Dawn of the Dead remake. Unfortunately,
end of story edition.
Yeah, and then of course it'll even have the Day of the Dead and all that. I mean, remember, folks, don't complain because they're in there. I remember, like, people are like, the Halloween box, like, I get a fucking done without the Rob Zombie remakes and shit. I'm like,
it's like you're complaining because you got more.
I know, and that's the thing. So don't complain that you're getting the Day of the Dead remake and the sequel, which is even worse, and all these other things. And who cares? You're getting
this is like a 28 set box, 28 disc box set at this point.
And the best thing about this, so it's gonna be about 25 to 30 discs, huge box set, all individual, all custom arts, reversibles, features out the yin yang.
Gonna be about $2,500 to $3,500,
and it's gonna be the low price of like 4 or 5 installment payments. No, man, we gotta sell this thing about $79, $80. No,
Jesus Christ.
No, it would have to be. That would be the problem with that. If you were to release a box set that huge with that much content, holy fuck! I mean, it's just.
I mean, you have to be like the $600 range at that point.
I know, it'd be insane. I think I would try to do it around like $189 or something like that if I could.
I don't even think that's possible.
I know, it'd be so hard, but just think, you're getting all the Dawns on Blu-ray and everything. Oh, it'd be cool.
Yeah, your company would be bankrupt.
Yeah, I'm not. I shouldn't say I'm not good with business, because I do have one, but maybe I'm not good with media business. But anyways, this is like
what would you do with the Are you making more movies? Are you done? You just releasing the box set?
Honestly, I never really even considered making more, because.
This one sucked.
Unless, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they've really, I like Land. I thought Land was good, and then we got
I actually
Diary.
like Diary too, but
Diary actually grew on me quite a bit over the years. I've watched it a few times, but Survival is just one of those films where it's just like, okay, we need somebody writing something totally fresh. We need a bigger budget and stuff. We need to like do this properly and stuff. And maybe we'll just focus on the box set right now. Maybe if it does really well, then we'll work on the new film, and then we'll re-release the box set. I don't know, but no plans for another film. Just give the people what they want for the box.
Cool. I hope that answered your question, Matt. Thanks for calling in, and do it again. All right, moving on here. Next voicemail.
Hey guys, this is Drew. Love the show. Here's a controversial opinion, and it may be a little douchey on my end, but I was wondering your thoughts. Sometimes some of the packaging art drives me nuts. For example, like some of the Kino releases where they take a movie like Hitchhike with David Hess and Franco Nero and make it look like some crazy Barnes and Noble, some crazy Barnes and Noble kind of fancy art film, and when it is what it is. And also kind of the Scream Factory stuff. It's like it was cool when they did Halloween 1 and 2, but now they're all the same. And honestly, a lot of them I don't like. I think and they're still doing the blue cases. It's not like an Arrow release or where you get a lot of diversity or packaging, and but you're still paying the same price. So just curious what you guys think of that. Thanks, bye.
So what do you think, Moodz?
Well, first of all, I don't think you're douchey for, bringing up something like that at all. No, it's a conversation that we've had, I think, a few times, about packaging and certain things. I mean, obviously, every time Scream Factory comes out with a collector's edition, the main focus in the conversation starts off with, the artwork.
The art?
Yeah, what do you think of this art? I mean, it's kind of the selling point, right? Yeah, I think honestly, some of the new art has faltered, in recent times. I'm not saying it's terrible or anything. I think some of it isn't really the greatest and stuff. But yeah, I do think that, with all these other companies coming out and doing what they're doing and stuff, something like Scream Factory maybe should try to, just kind of amp up their game a little bit. I mean, look at Arrow. Arrow's a great example of a company that does package their stuff completely different. I mean, they had like these special editions like, Society and Bride of Reanimator, and, more recent, it hasn't been released yet, but Bloodbath is coming out, and these special packages and stuff. That's cool. I like that variety. I'm a big fan of that. Not to take anything away from Scream Factory, but I do really enjoy those, just the variety of packaging. Because, essentially you're going to get, the standard edition too. But, I mean, I love Arrow's cases. I love those big fat cases and stuff that they feel like rocks and bricks. And, yeah, man, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that, so.
Yeah, me personally, I tend to usually like Scream Factory's cover art, the new commission art, because they have developed sort of a style and they kind of stick to that style. And I'm usually a fan of, I guess repetition, but it's more like comfortability. It's like I know what I'm getting. I like to see it's uniform, like they feel the same. They don't feel all over the place like Arrows do. I actually usually don't like Arrow's cover art choices, like most of the time, honestly. But I do agree with Moodz with the when they kind of take a step out of the box and they make stuff like the Society release and the Bride of Reanimator release, because that shit's cool to me. Like I like the Society release was really neat. Like it was the top was like embossed and it was ripply and it's just, you open it, it's just cool release. It's neat. I like stuff like that. I've always been a fan of anything that's different. And the cases that Arrow do, I do like as well. Oddly enough, my Black Cat box set, one of the DVDs was broke. The case actually broke.
Oh, that's right.
That's actually never happened to me with the Scream Factory release, in the standard Blu-ray case. So I do think sometimes that the bigger cases, the wider ones, bend easier in shipping packages. and they compress and they break easier, I think, sometimes. But
I think that might have been
science behind it.
I think that might have been a factory thing. I think it might have broken the factory because, I mean, when you look at it, the box that thing comes in, I mean, that thing is like a brick. I can't imagine any type of flexibility without room.
Well, the problem is that it was like a brick, but it was also the discs, the cases were very tight in it. Like I noticed that as soon as I opened it. Maybe it was just mine. You know, I got mine a little bit earlier.
You know, it's funny. I've never had an Aero case broke. I usually order all my stuff from the UK, so so it gets beat around in the mail. But I've been fortunate enough never to have any of those cases get broken. But I have with Screen Factory actually. I've had I mean those are pretty standard Amaray cases though, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just all, I guess, depending on the way they're shipped too. But yeah, I've never actually had any of them broken. The only time I ever had one of those Aero cases smashed to bits is actually a package that was sent to me from Turi, a guy from our Facebook group and our chat and stuff.
Is he?
It arrived in my house and it was in fucking pieces, man. It was crazy.
Is he from our Facebook group in our chats?
Yeah, Turi.
I haven't seen him.
Oh yeah, Turi's never around. He's never around. He does updates like every 4 days. But no, but that thing came.
That's not even a joke.
It was pancaked.
He does updates every 4 days.
It was fucking pancaked. It was crazy. And then when it showed up at my house, like usually I'd been like, oh, whatever, I'll just replace a case. But here, North America, we can't find those things anywhere. It's like impossible. So.
You know what I noticed? Shameless. I was on their website the other day. They actually offer
yellow cases
that you can buy. How cool is that?
They're like £1 or something like that. So. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do have a beef with bad cover art, but usually with Scream Factory, with the collector's editions, you get the reversible art, which is the old school art, which usually is good. So it's very rare where you have the new cover art's actually better than the old cover art.
Well, it's the first thing I do when I open up a Scream Factory collector's edition or whatever. I take the slip cover off and I flip the art around and put the slip back on, so you have them both.
Yeah, that's what I really like, having them both.
Yeah.
But so hopefully that answered your question. And we have one more voicemail.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia calling in with just a question. I was thinking the other day, this novel, I guess, or novel when I was a kid I read called Riptide, and I was telling a friend about it. About a shark that stakes a claim off not Amity, but I can't remember, some little town off Carolina or something. And anyways, the point is, this story was this detective, sort of washed up Beatles detective who tries to escape his past, settles down in this little town, and lo and behold, ultimately he gets kind of swept up in this whole people missing, and it's the shark that's at the cause of it all. That doesn't come out to the very end. Anyways, got me to thinking about the novels that we read as kids growing up. Is there any novel any of you guys would have read as a kid that you just wish, looking back, they would have made that into a movie or could make it that into a movie today? And I really do wish Riptide was one of those weird ones, and that I think would have made for an interesting one. And but anyway, it's just a short question to probe the mind, and just hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Out.
Thanks, Rob, for leaving a voicemail. As always, Moodz, answer the question, maybe?
Yeah, man, there was always one, like, growing up, I was such a huge, well, I still am a huge Stephen King fan. And I remember reading this short novella or whatever you want to call it. I think it was released by itself though too, but it was also part of the Bachman books when he was writing under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. And it was one of the short stories from the Bachman books. It was with Rage and Roadwork and The Running Man, which, the film that Arnold Schwarzenegger starred in, Stephen King actually wrote that. Now, there was another short story in that collection of 4. It was called The Long Walk. And I remember reading the story when I was a kid and just being like, I wanted to see it visually so bad. I want a movie out of that so bad. And that's the one that instantly, as soon as I heard your voicemail, I was like, that's it. It's The Long Walk. That's the one I want to see.
I never read that one, but
It's
I'm sure there's so many Stephen King stories. Which honestly, the one that
oh
I would like, and
yeah,
I know you would like it as well,
yeah.
is not from when I was a kid, but from good few years ago now. It's 1944, I believe, or
No,
1922.
1922.
Okay, yeah,
1922.
that's from Full Dark No Stars, the compilation
Which is
book
very
of
similar to the
novellas.
Bachman books. There's 4 short stories in this one, and one of them has actually been made into a movie already, which is Big Driver.
Two of them. Good Marriage was also made into a movie.
Shut the fuck up, really?
Yeah,
Oh shit, I didn't even know that. Wow, so maybe 1922 is next. Yeah, that's a great
it should
story.
be freaking next. It's a great story.
Remember when we had this conversation a couple years back and we're like, yeah, 1922. We were both like totally on the same page, pun intended.
Yeah, it's a
But
good story.
yeah, it's great. It's great.
Thanks, Rob, for calling in.
That's right.
And that was the last of the voicemails, but we do have actually one question that I actually missed, and it is from the same guy who's given us our knowledge topic this week. But he sent me this a while ago, and I kept forgetting it. So he says, "Hi guys, just had a question for this show. We all enjoy watching reviews and collections, but it does take work to make videos and post them. What made you start recording videos on YouTube? Not sure if you've answered this in the previous episode." He also gives us a little suggestion for episode 100, and it's Jim from Toronto, so a fellow Canadian.
From Toronto. Yeah, I love Toronto. How did I get into making videos? Honestly, I just thought it looked so damn cool, man. I was watching certain people make their videos like OD666, 666, and there's a few other guys, and Tom the Horseball was another guy. And I just thought it was so fucking cool. I was like, man, I got a bunch of horror movies. I just want to talk about them too. And that's really what it was. It was just so intriguing to me of all these movies that these guys were showing off. And I'm like, man, I need to see that. I need to check this out. And, I wanted to be that person too. I'm like, yeah, I got some shit. I can talk about it. And I just wanted to, be part of that community to look fun. And so I started making videos and, I just really love doing it. I still do. It's been, I don't know, 4 years. I don't even know how long it's been, but I never look back. I think it's just, it's a pastime. It's fun. And if you want to do it, do it. That's all I can say. All you need is a camera and a voice, man. And you know what? My only word of advice, be yourself with some enthusiasm too. Don't be fucking boring in front of the camera. When you're fucking boring and you're monotone and you're boring and shit, man, some people are just like, and they just there's some people just need not to be in front of a camera, but hopefully mine are a little more entertaining than that anyways. Come on. But
me personally, similar story, but one of the things that I noticed is I'd always been a fan of horror movies, but I didn't know anybody that was. And it was funny, I came across YouTube and I was like, holy shit, there's like a community, like there's conventions and like there's all these things that I didn't know about, and I'm like there's guys who know like so much, and I just looked at them and I was like, dude, I want to be like that, and I want to know all these films, and I started getting introduced to stuff that I didn't even know about, like lingo even, like honestly, like what the like I never even heard the word giallo before YouTube, you know what I mean? Like certain things like that, and like I probably heard of slasher, but just hearing like all these subgenres and different like lingo for what we talk about, which is horror, and different things, it kind of opened my eyes, and like I thought I knew a lot about horror, but I know nothing compared to the people online. And I started seeing these DVD collections, and I was just like, whoa, I want to have all these on DVD, which I already was like a fan of owning things, like physical things, like physical media, but I didn't collect really. I just bought stuff whenever I got a chance that I wanted to see, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like my favorite horror film. I would love to have that. And so I had that stuff in my collection and things like that. But I didn't really consider it a collection. I just owned DVDs like everybody else. And then I started watching YouTube, and it started with, like, I don't really know who the first person I watched, but I know one of the first persons that I watched was a guy named like B Junior, I think, Endurance Productions
Oh,
is
yeah.
his YouTube channel. He doesn't really make a ton of videos anymore, but
He's
I
part of the
used
he's
to,
part of the Sausage Factory now.
yeah. See, I never get to actually check that out when it's on or anything. So I know they kind of have like rotating guests. I think. Has he been on there? I haven't seen.
Well, they have about 8 regulars, but not all of them show up all the time. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of a good idea if you're gonna
Yeah.
just, hey, we're doing it this time.
Yeah,
and
some shows you'll only see 4 or 5, and sometimes you'll see like 7 or 8 or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, so I remember watching his videos, and his were really inspiring to me because, I remember that he started out, like one of the first videos that I seen from him. I actually looked to see, like a few years ago, I looked to see if it's still up, but it wasn't even up anymore. He was like on work call or something, so he was in a hotel. He was like staying in a hotel for work or something, and he brought the Friday the 13th box set with him, and he's like, I'm just gonna watch all these, and he like would turn the camera on and like talk about it a little bit, kind of like your marathon that you do, Moodz, but like
Oh yeah.
not like, hey, snacks and food and like make an event out of it. It's just like he was just chilling. But that video was always that like it was a group of videos, because back in the day you can only make 10-minute videos on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
And I watched his, and then I watched his collection like got big. Like he started picking up like laser discs and stuff, and I learned a lot from watching his videos, honestly. And he was one of the guys that I really liked watching. But also Ryan 1988 I used to watch a lot. A lot of these guys who started out on YouTube like back in 2008, 2009, shit like that, even earlier with some of them. And I watched all these videos, and I was like, oh, I want to make these. I want to do these. I want to do these. I kept putting it off. One, I didn't have a camera, and two, I just was putting it off. Eventually, I just bought a crappy webcam for like $25, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to make videos. And they sucked for a long time. But, with everything, practice makes you better, and you have to actually put effort into it too. Like there's a lot of people who just turn on a camera and say stuff, which is fun if you want to do that for yourself. But if you're trying to entertain people, or you're trying to put on a show, or you're trying to,
Remember, put those bloopers at the end of your videos, man.
Yeah, I mean, we always get better as we do things more, but I always focused on getting better. I don't know if guys do that nowadays. Like some of the newer YouTubers, like, do they actually try to get better, or they're just happy with the way they are? Because I just try to do things that are interesting. Like I've tried series that I've stopped doing because like I feel like it's not really working, it's not really fun, or people aren't really watching it. I like trying new things, doing different stuff that could be cool. I feel like the problem with a lot of YouTubers now is they don't try to get better, or they don't try to do different things. And like Moodz says, you got to be yourself. You got to be like, you can be influenced by people, right? Like I was influenced by people, but at the end of the day, you have to be yourself. And if you like the ways, people showed off their collection, like I was always a fan of the people that sit in front of the camera and not hold the camera. So that's the type of videos that I do. But I'm still my own, person or whatever. Just like doing them that way. That's how I got into YouTube, and I highly recommend doing YouTube because, I mean, I've met so many people. I'm friends with a lot of people. It's benefited me in my collecting. I mean, I've gotten, not saying this is why you should do it, but like I've gotten things from it. Like I've gotten gifts. I've gotten like I'm get screeners now and stuff. It's really cool, but that's mostly from the podcast anyway, which I like even more than YouTube. But I still have a love for YouTube as well. But I think the best thing about YouTube is building relationships with people that are into the same shit that you are is amazing. Because I just now in life, I'm starting to meet people in real life that are into horror. But for years, it was like I was like the only person on earth. It felt like.
That's what I really enjoy about it too, is the community and just being part of it,
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going all the time. Is just, just the positive feedback and, the people around you and things like that. So that's enough. That's enough for me.
Yep. Absolutely. So, with that said, that's it for the questions. You want to go ahead into knowledge?
Show.
Okay, so knowledge is a segment where we talk about something, and this time it's coming from the same person, which is Jim from Toronto, and he says, "Hi guys, just had a question for the show." Oh wait, that's the one I read already. One second. So he says, "Hi guys, just had a question for the show." So he actually did say that in his other one too. For knowledge. Special editions, collector's editions, special collector's editions, special director's cut, rated, unrated director's cuts, limited editions, ultimate collector's editions, and on and on. We know this is mainly done for money, but how does this affect you as a collector? Do you chase after all these different versions? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to you to collect all the different editions? Could you maybe give some example of when you would? So I thought that was pretty interesting. So you do have a lot of these different editions. Remember, it used to be here's an edition, and then there's the special edition. That was the big thing, right? Special edition, special widescreen edition.
Special,
and it really started with laser discs. If I and VHS sometimes, like Anchor Bay did some special edition VHSs.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the widescreen editions and things, and you know, and that was like the very early stages of what a special edition was. It was more just like the format at the time.
Yeah,
you know,
like I have the Halloween widescreen special edition.
I know.
Bay.
It's changed a lot now with the ability to showcase and actually have features. You know, I mean, special edition was just your ratio, and but now it's like, you know, for people that like films and they like features, you know, I think it all depends on the collector, man. I mean, you know, why do I have the Arrow edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and why do I have the Scream Factory special edition? Well, one is that I made a bet with not a bet with myself, but I said, I'm going to collect all the Scream Factories. So that's why I have that. Should I get rid of the Arrow one? No, because I mean, I like features. I do like features, and you know, that's the thing about collecting that is so irritating, is that there's so many companies out now, and they always seem to put a little bit new features on a release here and there, and you're like, if you're inclined to have all those features, like so many collectors are, there's people out there that just don't give a shit about the features, which is fine. You know, they're about the film, so they don't need to double dip on certain things. But if you want all these features and things like that, honestly, having the Arrow edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and the Scream Factory is beneficial to have them both, because on the Arrow you get, you know, Tobe Hooper's short films, which is really awesome, and that was one of the big selling points for myself. You know, when I bought the Arrow one, was to have those short films, because, you know, that's fucking cool. They were never released before, you know, and you know, the Scream Factory one doesn't have those. So that's the thing about collecting. You know, the names themselves, super duper extreme special edition, blah blah, you know, that shit doesn't sell me. It's more about what I'm getting with it, though, too. Sometimes I buy shit because, you know, I'm collecting certain companies like Scream Factory or whatever, but that's very rare. It's just Scream Factory, really. But you know, a lot of times it is about features. It really is. So
with me, one of the things that I do if I want to buy a movie is, let's say it's just a random ass movie, Rob Zombie's Halloween. First I see what editions there are. You know, let's say pre-box set, Halloween Blu-ray box set. I see what editions there are, and you know, there's like a 3-disc DVD edition, there's like a 2-disc, rated and unrated. There's all these different versions. So first thing I do is just find out what there is, and then I see what the prices are. And if they're reasonably similar, maybe this one costs a little bit more, a couple bucks more or something, then I'll pick which one I like the best. In the case of Rob Zombie's Halloween, it actually is conflicting because I need 2 editions of that, because the rated and unrated are very different. The rated I like better than the unrated, actually, or the rated I like better than the unrated, but I still want the unrated because I like certain things about it better too. So that's a scenario where I will buy 2 versions of that film not only because it's Halloween and it's Rob Zombie's Halloween, but because there's actual differences in the version that you buy. Another case is if I'm just buying a movie, and I want it in either DVD or Blu-ray. If it's something new, I almost always want it on Blu-ray instead of DVD. If it's something old, it depends on the price. Like, so for example, something like Frankenhooker. The DVD I seen going for about $8, $9, or $7, $8. The Blu-ray, I found it for like $15, but I eventually found it for like $11. So to me, that makes it justifiable to spend a couple extra bucks to get the Blu-ray, because I would rather have it on Blu-ray. If I had a preference, it's always going to be Blu-ray. But if the price is too, wide, then I'll just go with the DVD. Collectors, the features matter too. You take something like Deadly Spawn, for example, and everybody tells me the DVD is the better version because I guess the transfer sucks dick on the Blu-ray.
It's bad.
So limited editions I'm not the biggest fan of. Stuff like Synapse's Steelbook of Tenebrae. I don't like that because the price is too high. I don't like limited editions in general unless there's a regular version and the limited edition is like a premium version. But if it's only limited, that's a big no-no for me. I don't like that. I probably won't.
Yeah, the
money.
standard limited edition is so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Hence Twilight Times. That's what they do.
Yeah, I won't support that just because it's just I don't want to cause that to keep happening. So I'll take my money and I'll spend it somewhere else. Now, do I like collecting different editions? I'm actually kind of against. Moodz is actually a big double dipper. He will tell you otherwise, but it is not true. He's a huge double dipper, bigger than most people I know.
No, it's honestly, dude, man, I buy so much stuff on DVD instead of Blu-ray. See, it doesn't matter to me. Like, the thing is with collecting with me, yeah, there's certain films and there's a lot of films that I'll buy multiple editions of. I have 13 copies of Maniac. Why? Because it's my favorite slasher film. I'm fucking weird like that.
There is certain cases, like I own Halloween like seriously like 7 or 8 times, but I love Halloween. I'm okay with owning an edition, multiple editions of it. But your favorite films, of course, you're gonna own.
That's the thing.
Multiple editions.
Dawn of the Dead, man. Tons and tons of editions. Return of the Living Dead, another thing. I've got with the Scream Factory one coming out, I think it's going to be my 4th Blu-ray. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But oddly enough, they all have different cover art. So, and that is a selling point. My favorite films, I will buy things based on just if I can find them super cheap. I don't go out of my way to, just, there's an edition. It's like $36. I'm like, no. But I like to actually collect things from around the world. Every once in a while, if I find something from Australia or Germany or things like that, like I'm not a big hard box collector, but if I came across the Dawn of the Dead or Maniac one, I probably would go after it. But no, generally I actually don't upgrade a lot of stuff unless I'm collecting that company. And now this is where it is. Like, I mean, generic titles, like even like the Green Inferno, like I'm perfectly happy with grabbing the DVD instead of the Blu-ray because I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but see, that's another example where I totally see in like 5 years time, you'll have the Blu-ray. Like I watch your updates, I always see upgrades for shit that just because it's you got it for a decent price or whatever. But I'm comparing you to most people.
I would say probably
you buy a lot more than
under 20% of my Blu-rays are upgrades though, unless they are
20% still like pretty high.
Yeah, but I have a couple thousand of them though too. It's like, but I'm just saying a lot of those are because I'm collecting certain companies. Like, say if I like Snaps, I'll buy the Blu-rays and things, and Scream Factory, and certain Arrow editions and things like that. But as for like if Sony was just releasing something, I generally would not just upgrade it unless I really love the film, and that's the difference.
I mean, yes, but.
And also,
I remember specific times where I just started naming titles, and I was like, "Did you upgrade that one?" It was like Pet Sematary. Like, did you upgrade that? And you're like, "Yep." But you definitely upgrade more than the average person.
I honestly don't think I do, man. Honestly, I wish you could come over here and just check it out, man. it's actually not as bad as you really think it is. It really isn't. It really isn't. Like, I mean, I'm still trying to get rid of my Wrong Turn 3 Blu-ray. I'm just trying to get rid of that shit so I can just buy the DVD because I have all the other ones on DVD. Like, I just don't need to, have that shit. So I'm not gonna upgrade the rest to Blu-ray and then get rid of the DVDs, and it's not gonna happen. Go the other way. I'm gonna go the other way.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm not a big double dipper. It's usually if it's a film that I really, really like, I will. If it's a classic and I'm transitioning from DVD to Blu-ray, sometimes I will. Most of the time, I might have one or two, not counting Scream Factories, because I do collect Scream Factories as Moodz does. I might have one upgrade whenever I do a DVD update. Not the biggest fan of it. It's simply because I don't buy that much to begin with, so I'm not going to spend it on stuff that I already own. Unless, like I said, it's a super cool edition, or it's something that I'm a huge fan of, like Chainsaw 2 was released by Scream Factory, but if it wasn't, I would upgrade Chainsaw 2 from the DVD that I have, the gruesome edition, to the Blu-ray because I love that movie.
Yeah, there's generally a reason. There's generally a reason why things are being upgraded. Like, Arrow is releasing something, and that's going to be the superior edition. I'm just, the general, Sony and Universal and Warner Brothers, like, a lot of those burn on demand ones and things like that. Like, I'm just not going after that shit. Those Blu-rays that are being released, just not going after any of them. I haven't grabbed any of them. Because what's the point?
Yeah, I'm not grabbing those.
So that's the thing.
I don't even own the originals.
It's just the problem is with me is that I collect so many damn different companies that chances are, one of these major companies that I collect is going to release something that I have on DVD, but it's probably going to be superior. And a lot of the time it has to do with, presentation too. I mean, I've upgraded to Blu-ray because, this is actually a widescreen edition. I can get rid of my, my full screen DVD. So I'm happy with that. So
yeah. And also just some editions are you're gonna get no matter what. Like, I mean, you might own Dawn of the Dead, but when the Ultimate Edition comes out, you're gonna grab that because it's super sexy. Not talking about you, because obviously Moodz is gonna grab it because it's like his favorite movie ever. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, in general, the general horror fan is gonna pick up something like the Ultimate Edition. I like cool editions too. So I usually, if it's cheap enough, like, okay, here's an example, like Synapse's Prom Night. Okay, that's something have I found for maybe $10 I would buy, even though the transfer on the DVD isn't very good from Echo Bridge. I don't really like that movie, so I don't see it necessary to upgrade unless I found it cheap.
But it actually improves the movie. That
it
transfer
does,
is
but
like
I don't
phenomenal.
Care about the movie that much, so I don't need to really improve it that much.
Yeah, you'd be surprised if you watched it like under the that quality of transfer, man. It really did kind of change the film for me a little bit. It doesn't happen very often. I think Prom Night is probably one of the only exceptions that's ever really, well, I shouldn't say that. There's been a couple times where I'm like, wow, dude, that transfer really kind of amped it up for me a little bit. Prom Night's definitely up there.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool top 10 right there. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I hope that answered your question and talked a little knowledge there with different editions. I do kind of hate the way that sort of Anchor Bay used to be, where they would release a new edition of like something like Evil Dead like every year. That film has been released so many times. Same thing goes with Alien. Like, those films always get re-released.
Oh man, almost every 6 months there's a new edition of Alien, new box set or something.
Yeah, I don't like that. But yeah, so there we go.
Alrighty, so yeah, that was a good knowledge section. Fuck, I can't fucking scratch that. Did I say section?
You did.
So yeah, that was a really good knowledge segment. Yeah, so JP, do you got something you want to drop in the middle of this Mood Swings right now?
Yes, I do. So a while back, we said, "Hey guys, rate us on iTunes, and we'll enter you for a contest if we get a certain amount of ratings by the time that I set a date for." And we did. I think it just barely made it, but it made it nonetheless. It was, I think I asked for 12 reviews or 10 reviews by the time the date came about, and I think it happened. You guys probably thought that we just said that to get you guys to do it, and then we weren't going to give anything away because we didn't say anything about it for a while. But yeah, we'll give something away. I don't think we actually picked anything yet, but we're going to announce who the winner is. And one thing that I did say, guys, anybody who leaves us a review in the future and in the past will automatically be entered in any contest that we do. That's a permanent entry into every contest we do by leaving us a review on iTunes, which we've done some pretty big ones in the. I mean, we gave away so much stuff on episode 50. You know, it was like, I think there was like 9 winners or something.
Oh yeah, we gave a lot, like a shitload of stuff.
Yeah, so you know, rating us is smart to do. But anyway, we got a few people here. We got DJ 3735. We got Dr. Mandrakiss. We have Scarface 87. We have Chico de Swift. We have Delining, Andy French 0602. Rob at Georgia. Strangeland _ BLS. Death Metal God, and Your Mama's Man. I think he's talking about no,
Your mama's man.
So with that said, I'm just going to hit a randomizer here. Whoever's at the top of the list will win. So here we go. And the winner is Strangeland _ BLS. Also, I did, for some reason, I was not all the way down the list, but Derek was also on the list.
BLS as in Black Label Society?
Not sure.
Probably.
But Strangeland, if you want to go ahead and shoot us an email at 22shotsofmoodsandhorror@gmail.com or give us a PM on Facebook, we will figure out what we're going to send you. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for leaving voicemails, or reviews, and keep doing it.
Congratulations to the winner. Alrighty. So, getting into the morbid fact courtesy of Rue Morgue magazine. This one is coming from issue 128 from November of 2012. Well, it seems like a long time ago. This is the one that has Prince of Darkness on the cover. Awesome stuff. Yeah. Prince of Darkness. Such a good film, isn't it? Alrighty, so the this one right here. The budget on Lucio Fulci's 1990 film Demonia was allegedly so low that the prop whiskey that Grady Clarkson, who played the drunken Sean, was given was made up watered down tea. Furthermore, he was instructed not to actually drink it during takes as they couldn't afford more couldn't afford to make more. You know your fucking budget is so low when you can't even drink the shit in the scene that you're shooting.
Yeah,
wow.
That's pretty
Dude,
funny.
That's crazy low budget, man. I didn't realize Demonia was that low budget. I mean, it's not the greatest Fulci film in the world, but wow. Interesting stuff. So that is going to conclude Mood Swings and moving into what we watched portion of the show. If this is your first time listening to the program, this is just where we pick a film, review it, and we just go round table. So, JP, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I watched Catacombs from 1988, also known as Curse 4, which I actually didn't know until I watched it recently. I've actually not seen Curse 1, 2, or 3, so that kind of bugs me, even though I'm sure... Do they have anything to do with the Curse films?
No.
Okay, so it's like a House 3 thing.
Yep.
So yeah, who knew there was 4 Curse films, kind of? This film is set in a monastery, and it follows a demon who's trapped in a monastery, and 400 years later, a young girl arrives at the monastery to study. That is your IMDb description. Yeah, this one I was actually pretty goddamn surprised with. It is a Empire production, I believe, so like Charles Band and stuff. But it actually has, like, this is like good old like Full Moon style good shit because it has a lot of good set pieces. This is back when shit was going good. The same guy, David Schmoller, he directed
David Schmoller.
Tourist Trap, Crawl Space, of course Catacombs, Puppet Master, and Netherworld, a couple other films throughout time. So, definitely kind of the highlight era of his career was in the late 70s to sort of late 80s. And one of the things that I like right away is that it is sort of your religious horror, which I'm actually a fan of. I like religious horror a lot when it's not The Exorcist, I guess. Just like an exorcism. I do like The Exorcist, but I don't just like, your basic possessed exorcism type deal. I like the religion part of it, where it has a lot of, like the church or something, where it's like a lot of religious shit going on. I was actually really surprised at the production level in this film. All the acting felt way better than I ever expected for Empire and stuff like that. It's a really solid little horror movie that seems way bigger than it should be. It is a little rusty in my mind right now because I did watch it last week, but overall I definitely very much enjoyed it. There's a few cool scenes of makeup effects. There's actually really good effects in this film, and give it about a 7 out of 10.
Wow, you give that one a 7 out of 10? Crazy.
What do you like? Do you like it?
I'd probably give it about a 4.
Really?
No, I like Catacombs, man. It's fun. I was not expecting to come in at like a 7, though. That surprised me. It really did.
All right.
It really did.
What you got?
Crazy. All right, so we're a little short on
films.
Films is
from
for this
me.
week. So.
Yeah, it's me, guys. I didn't watch. Look, I had to pull this from I said last week, but it was like 2 weeks ago. I didn't watch anything this week besides Scream, because I have to. Got a screener copy of Scream, so I have to go through that whole series by like next week if I want to be current on the release date. So, I've been watching that, and also we went through a bunch of Tremors films last week. I was kind of taking a little break, but Moodz of course watches a million things whenever. But what are you gonna do? A segment maybe?
Yeah, I'm just going to get right into an Italian stallion. So my Italian stallion of the week here is coming from 1974 from director Massimo Dallamano, who is responsible for directing What Have They Done to Solange? And this movie right here is kind of like, it's not a sequel, but it's kind of a sequel in name, I guess. And it's called What Have They Done to Your Daughters? So this was kind of like an unofficial sequel that came out like 2 years after What They've Done to Solange. And basically this one follows, the beginning of the film, it starts out, this girl is dead hanging in this apartment. And they think at first that she's committed suicide. Of course, upon further investigation, they figure out that, she probably couldn't have committed suicide and she's been murdered. Which ultimately leads them to a few more clues in certain places, and they kind of undercover, or they kind of, it leads them into like this ring, this teenage prostitution ring that she could have been a part of, and things like that. So one thing leads to another, and they start kind of investigating all around, this main investigator and his sidekick, this female sidekick. And as they're doing their police investigation, all of a sudden this crazy guy, like who's dressed all in leather, who rides a motorcycle, starts to pick off all these witnesses and these people that might be connected to this teenage prostitution racket that is very like politically corrupt and things like that. So now they're trying to figure out exactly who's responsible for this prostitution racket. And meanwhile, they got to deal with this wielding maniac who rides a motorcycle, dressed in all leathers, wears a helmet, kind of like Nightmare Beach or Welcome to Spring Break killer, goes around killing people with a fucking meat cleaver, which is totally awesome looking in the film. It's so crazy. So that essentially is what the synopsis of the film is. Now this one is a giallo, but it's kind of like a hybrid giallo. It's very different. It's very heavy on the police investigation in this film, and it's never dull at all. Like right from the start of the film, it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things that are that are happening, and it kind of goes. You don't really know where it's going to go, and then when you learn that that there's like this teenage prostitution racket that could be controlled by politicians and higher up people and things like that, you're kind of like, where is this going? Why is this person picking them off? There's just a lot of things that's kind of running through your mind. And I really like the way this film was executed, because like what I mean by a hybrid giallo film is that it's kind of different, man. It almost plays out like an action film at times. There's like action sequences in this with really crazy car chases, and the killer's not POV in this one. He is all dressed in black, but you do see the full figure. And the violence of the kills is just outstanding, man. It's like some of the shots where he, digs this meat cleaver into people is done pretty well. It's like effective. The way Masalano Dalamano shot this film is pretty cool, man. It captures the violence so heavy, and it's awesome. So it has like this slasher feel to it, which from 1974 would be like a prototype slasher thing, but mixed with giallo, and it's really really fast paced for a film that's 86-87 minutes long. But very intriguing, awesome follow up to What Have They Done to Solange. Completely different in, style a little bit. The other one is more of a strictly kind of structured giallo. It's more your traditional giallo. This one's a little different. It's got like action sequences and things that are awesome, but I just couldn't get over the weapon in this. It was fantastic. The effects were awesome. The one downfall for this film is the fact that the dubbing in the movie is usually not a problem for me in Italian films, because that's just the way they did all their films. But it's the simple fact that like a lot of the voices that are used in this seem to be the same person dubbing over multiple characters. And it's like kind of a major problem for me, because when you're watching a dub film, you're trying to associate certain voices and things, and they didn't fit proper at all. And it was kind of off-putting a little bit. It's just like a minor nitpick, but this is a really good mystery. I think it's a really well done film. A lot of twists and turns, and just awesomeness that is happening in the film. It's got great music, and it's just it's got a really awesome ending too. It's got an interesting ending to it. So, it's a giallo. Not really a whole lot more to say about it. I don't want to give anything away. It does have its sleazy moments. You see a lot of which are supposed to be underage girls in the film, which is kind of an interesting thing, because films like this would never be made now. Kind of imposing that like these kids are 15, 16 years old, and they're showing tits and muff and things like that. It's just, these films were only made in the early 70s. You just can't really do that now. But I do like the whole political aspect of it and all the corruption, and it was really kind of the times in Italy. This film was really representing the times of Italy with they had a major problem in the early 70s with teenagers disappearing from their homes, and a lot of them would end up in these teenage prostitution rackets and out on the streets prostituting themselves, or they've just end up dead or on drugs and things like that. And they showcase a lot of this in there. So if you kind of know the history of Italy for the times, this is a very relative piece, and it's very effective in what it is. So, I mean, I'm catching that like 42 years later. So it's obviously a good piece of cinema. But I highly recommend this. This edition right here is coming from Shameless Screen Entertainment. It says, it's 87 minutes long. It's the longest cut ever. This is recut. This is like fully uncut. So it does have all the blood and gore and stuff. And I will say the effects, besides, the cleavers going into people, looks awesome, but the blood looks great. A lot of times in these early 70s films or mid 70s and stuff, the blood can look very kind of paintish and just kind of offbeat and just doesn't look right. This one looks fucking great. The blood looks fantastic. And that's a big plus. That's a really, really big plus. And there's some pretty bloody moments in this too, man, I will add. So interesting stuff. Love the killer. Loved everything about this. I thought it was really, really great. I'm going to give it about an 8.5 out of 10. And What Have They Done to Your Daughters? Check it out from Shameless. It's awesome.
Cool, man. That's sounded pretty cool. I definitely want to pick up a Shameless or two in the future. I don't own any yet, but there's a few I got my eye on. So, Moodz, we got something a little bit different next.
Yeah, we do.
So this is not your typical what we watched segment portion, because this isn't even a horror film, what we're about to discuss, but It is
fits
genre. It is cult. It is blaxploitation.
Yes.
I've reviewed a blaxploitation film or two on this podcast before.
I think it's happened.
And yeah, so this is coming to us courtesy of Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
And what is it?
It is Rudy Ray Moore's Dolemite.
1975.
Yeah, Rudy Ray Moore, man. Always considered, a lot of people always consider him to be like the first rapper, because of his rhyme schemes and his...
He himself considers himself that as well.
Yeah, I know, because, it is kind of interesting because he was doing this for, a few years before it became, mainstream and popularized and stuff, but I like his comedy, man. His show is pretty cool, man. And
Actually is in Rosemary's Baby. How about that?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, he showcases it. There's actually quite a long scene in the film where he's doing a bit of his act. I really enjoyed the scene, but yeah, you want to get into the synopsis of it?
Actually, it's the director who I believe is in Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, the director is.
Yeah, I heard that on the commentary, but I mixed it up. So yeah, let's get into it. Dolemite is a pimp who was set up by Willie Green and the cops, who have planted drugs, stolen furs, and guns in his trunk and got him sentenced to 20 years in jail. One day, Queen Bee and a warden plan to get him out of jail and get Willie Green and Mitchell busted for what they did to him. However, Dolemite is no stupid man and has a lot of warriors backing him, such as his call girls who are karate experts and lots more. That is your IMDb written description by Ali Jordana.
I love these blaxploitation films, man, where it starts out with a main character.
Dolemite is a pimp.
He's a pimp and he's getting out of jail. It's just like all these like crazy cliches and it's awesome stereotypes and things. But this is a fun film, man. I haven't watched Dolemite in years and years, and I remembered it to be, I remember liking it, but man, watching it again, man, I really noticed one thing is how much like funk and like bassline present music is in this film, and it just drives the film. It's like so effective because it's just so of the times, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
so good.
This film is obviously super low budget, super amateurish, but it is definitely carried by Rudy Ray Moore as Dolemite, who is just this guy with charisma. He's just it's classic blaxploitation style, where it is style. It's like a overdone style that just is in your face, and you can't help but like smile when you hear him say things.
Oh no, every time he delivers a line, it's like the blackest of black things, man. It's just so awesome because he's so proud of his character. But the thing is, Rudy Ray Moore is like just totally playing himself in it,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just it's like the way he's coming across and the way he talks and the way he rhymes. That's totally him. But he's having so much fun with Dolemite, man. It's just, some of the dialogue in the film is so cheesy and things that the interactions between characters and stuff. But the one thing about this movie I love is very, very typical, early 70s blaxploitation is the editing in these films is so funny. The editing is just hilarious, man. There'll be scenes where it's just that low budget, like everything that you look for in a blaxploitation is present in Dolemite.
Yeah.
Editing is just, you just notice it right away. It's just funny, choppy. The way the story is told, like it's a very simple story.
It
that
really
they kind of
doesn't make any sense at all in the world.
That's the thing, right? The story is so simple, but at the same time, exactly what you said, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like Dolemite is sentenced, or he's set up by Willie Green. Anyways, he gets out of jail due to circumstances. I don't know, like
literally, like the warden of the jail is like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you out so you can stop Willie Green because you know a lot about the streets."
I know, and I was like, okay, I'm like rewatch this, going, that makes absolutely no sense because there's no way they're just gonna let out some pimp to go stop Willie Green
to go commit
like how
crimes.
much power does Willie Green have, and how much power does Dolemite have? But yeah, so they literally let him out of the jail, and of course Willie Green has taken over his club, which is called the Total Experience. And I don't think they even really explain in the film why Dolemite owed him $50,000, did they?
I'm not sure. If
'Cause
it got lost in translation. This is not a film where you pay attention to the details.
Well, it's funny because it becomes so prevalent in it because, he has a meeting with Willie Green towards the end of the film. And he's like, 50,000, he gives him the $50,000 that he digs up in his club when he goes there one day and stuff. And he's like, you owe me 100,000, due to interest and things. And I'm like, why did he owe you 50,000 in the first place? You stole his club after you set him up. Right.
Well, one of the things that you will see in this film is like there's a scene right at the beginning where he gets out of jail and he got his Dolemite girls with him, and they start giving him clothes because he doesn't want to hop in his car with wearing like prison clothes.
Yeah.
And he puts them on and he's like, "Yeah, you think I wear cotton, bitch?" or something. And he throws the drawers, but
he's
then
like, I don't wear cotton drawers.
Yeah. Then he gets in the limo and the chicks take off his clothes. Like, so it's like just literal, just dumb things that happen that you're just like,
That whole scene is edited so funny because he's standing outside the prison and these guards are standing there, and as he's changing, they're kind of like taking their hats off and scratching their head like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
I love that scene. It's so funny.
I mean, you have tons of chicks who are naked and sex scenes, and
one of my favorite things about blaxploitation films is they spend so much time on wardrobe and just the aesthetics of the film, man. Like those costumes that they have are just amazing. Like, where the fuck do you find this stuff?
Especially considering how low budget this film is.
Yeah, like the costumes are outstanding. Like they look great. They look like real pimps. Like he looks like a real pimp, and all the girls around him and everything, they're all done up to the point. You're just like, it just flows so well when you're watching. Like, that's believable. And of course, this film, has its it's very stereotypical, corruption in religion and things like that. There's, of course, which is another really kind of oddball plot point in it with the priest who has like all these weird connections, but he's like this priest of this church, and or he's a reverend, but he's like a gun dealer. He's got guns and he's got all these weird connections and things like that. The story makes absolutely no sense at times, but it's enjoyable.
It's almost gonna hurt your head to try to make it make sense. So really, what you're here for is to just see like exploitation, essentially, and you're here to watch Rudy Ray Moore just be Dolemite.
It's really all about dialogue and just the way the film is presented. I mean, like, you get introduced to these characters, like, it seems like in the middle of like their arc, it's like, oh, this guy's giving a sermon, all of a sudden he's got like a thing of guns, and the cop's just like, okay. He just like walks out of there.
Yeah.
Like, what? See, like, things like that don't make any sense. Of like, these guys kind of trust this guy to like, he's running the streets, but why do you have like fully automatic weapons in your church, man?
It even kind of ends weird. Like, it just kind of ends, and he says, there's a line spoken, and then you're like, what?
Yeah, I love the last like 15-20 minutes of the film. I always remember this film having a little more action. Like, there's some car chases and things like that you're going to see in these films and stuff, and some obviously very, very amateurish fight scenes. Like, even like Rudy Ray Moore's punches.
Oh my god, they don't even come close to connecting.
They're so odd. It's so exploitive and just so low budget. It's so sweet, man. Just how bad it's done, but. Like almost all the scenes, but there's not a whole lot leading up to the last 15 minutes. Like, this movie kind of sells itself as like, here's Dolemite and his karate, women, his karate fighting women and things like that,
which is hilarious.
They're not really that prevalent until the end of the film. They do showcase.
They actually could have like exploited that a little bit more.
That's what I thought that too, actually, because they show them fighting in the dojos and things like that, and but there's no really big action sequences, probably due to budget and stuff. In the last 50 minutes, you get a little bit of action and stuff, but the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the film is probably the most entertaining of Dolemite, because you not only get the action sequences that you've been waiting for all film, but you also get Rudy Ray Moore doing stand-up, basically. His whole act is in there, like him doing his rhymes and shit, and that basically Andrew Dice Clay kind of ripped off a little bit, but in my opinion. But yeah, that shit is entertaining as fuck, man. But talk about, did you watch this thing in the other version, like the other, because you can watch it in it's called the alternate full frame boom mic version. So if you watch this in full frame, you can catch all the boom mics falling into the screen.
Yeah, so
It's so good.
I did not watch it in the boom mic version fully, but I did scan through it, and you actually see the boom mic in the regular version as well.
Oh, I totally missed it. I didn't even see one of the
Yeah,
regular.
I caught the boom mic at least 2 times.
Really? Jesus, I didn't even notice. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
one of them is like at the end, like a pivot, like one of the, like in the hospital. It's like over on the side. It's hilarious because
That's
it's
all.
very visible. But yeah, so I did. Did you happen to check out any of the special features on here, Moodz?
I actually didn't have time. I watched this earlier today, and I was out of time.
Okay, well, you should have because that is actually one of the best things about this release and really makes it worthwhile for picking up. So one of the things is that the commentary is really good. It is
Yeah.
very good. It is done by Mark Jason Murray, who actually did the biography on Rudy Ray Moore, and he does the commentary. He's a historian essentially, and he starts out with just talking about the movie, and then he'll actually play audio clips from interviews that he had done with people like the producers and the cinematographers, and then he'll read quotes from people that he's done interviews with, and he'll even talk about his personal experiences with uh, Rudy Ray Moore because he originally was he ran a website or something like that, or what he was working for a small magazine company. Reached out to Rudy Ray Moore, got an interview, and then over the years they actually became friends. He actually hired him to Rudy Ray Moore hired him to run Rudy Ray Moore's website. I mean, it's a great commentary that really talks about that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like, this film was done so cheap. You learn a lot about Rudy Ray Moore and the fact that he got his start making comedy albums.
Yep.
He actually was he grew up on a farm, and he didn't want to be like in that era, so he moved, and then he started making these comedy albums, and they got big and huge. One of the only people to have like two top charting comedy albums out at the same time.
Yeah.
He went and took the money that he made from those and made this movie because the Dolemite character existed in his comedy albums. He made this movie. It was way harder than he was expecting. I mean, the junkie in the movie is a real junkie.
Have you ever heard any of his stand up before?
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Oh man, it's good.
Yeah,
He's good.
The historian is interesting because he's just he described himself as a bald white guy with tattoos. So he said, Rudy Ray Moore gave him gifts over the years, which he cherishes, and he asked for pictures one time, and Rudy Ray Moore sent him this. He opens his box, and on top of the box is this just naked ass of some girl that gets a porn magazine, and he's like, it's totally like Rudy Ray Moore. But at the end of the day, there's also it actually had a reason because there was an article and an interview of Rudy Ray Moore in the magazine.
Nice.
So just all this fantastic stuff. I really, really love this commentary. Vinegar Syndrome, props to them for getting this Mark Jason Murray guy to do it. And then there's other really cool stuff on there too. Dolemite, the making of documentary. They really get into the behind the scenes. Like, they were shooting in like abandoned buildings, and they would dress them up in these set pieces, and then they just leave it there. They just leave all the stuff there. Just tons of different things. The boom mic version is actually due to the cinematographer who actually went on to make decent movies, decent cinematography work. But he was so amateur that he didn't realize that, like, when the films are going to be projected, the top, he just had the wrong ratio in his head when he was filming. He was visualizing it wrong. He wasn't visualizing it for the future. He was visualizing it for what was happening on the whatever. And apparently they wouldn't even get dailies back for 2 weeks. So like they couldn't fix things. They just had to roll with it. Super low budget filmmaking, guerrilla filmmaking, awesome stuff. There's an interview with Queen Bee on here as well. Awesome released by Vinegar Syndrome. I highly recommend checking out the commentary and the making of and the other features on there. I was really happy with it. Almost more interesting than the movie itself, especially when they talk about all the things that that this guy, Rudy Ray Moore, influenced rappers like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Eazy-E. I mean, the list goes on. People in the black community today still reference his Dolemite character and him. He was a larger-than-life person, and it's very interesting to get to know more about him. I mean, I was really impressed with the special features on here. There's not many. That making of is like 24 minutes, the interview is like 20 minutes, and the commentary is, of course, feature length. But it's enough to definitely warrant a pickup on that. If you're into blaxploitation, especially Zach.
Yeah, it's definitely a must own. You know, Dolemite. I had a lot of fun with watching Dolemite again, man. I just some of the sayings, man. Like it even says reeling back, like rat soup eating motherfucker. I just love the shit they didn't even come up with, man. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, man.
This is a perfect
Lots
example of a commentary that is not dry. It's done by a well-spoken, charismatic person who's feeding you information and entertaining you at the same time. Great commentary. What do you rate this film, Moodz?
Man, honestly, I really enjoy this film. I'm a really, really big fan of blaxploitation films. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, these films are super low budget. They're actually made pretty shitty. The acting in the film, for the most part, is pretty atrocious. Like, there's some points, man. Some of the interactions, you're just like, oh my god, like this is just horrible, man. Like, it's just both people are just terrible. It always makes me laugh in these films too, how they always have like the token white chick in the film, or the white guy.
Yeah.
In every scene, it's kind of funny. I don't know. It was probably done purposely. I don't know, but it always makes me laugh. But, yeah, man, I highly recommend Dolemite, man. It's not like the greatest film ever made or anything, but I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm actually going to come in at a 7 on this one, which does surprise. That's the rating I wrote down. Now that you said 6.5, I feel like I need to give a lower rating because that makes me feel like mine's too high. But, it's a bad movie in terms of technical aspects, but I feel like it's highly entertaining. So this is the case where the entertainment value does bring it up. But also maybe the backstory kind of swayed me a little bit too. But anyway, it's fun. It's a fun movie. You're gonna have fun with it. If you like blaxploitation movies, you'll definitely have fun with it. This character is so cool.
Yeah, I can watch these films all the time though. I never get sick of them. They crack me up, man.
Yeah.
One thing about blaxploitation that's so prevalent in like a lot of the films is how off the gunshots always are. Like, you ever notice the gunshots are always off in it, man? It never matches up properly. Like the sound is either too great for what they're using, or there's no fire coming out the end of it, or it's just like the movements are off. It's all prevalent here, man. This is just a classic case of a perfect blaxploitation film. It has it all.
All right,
boom mics and all.
That was sort of your co-featured review.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, I guess moving into the featured review of episode 80 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror here. Of course, I guess I don't really have to say that, do I? And this is going to be the 4th installment of Jörg Buttgereit's filmography, and I guess this is probably considered to be his last full-length horror film, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, if you look on his filmography, like it shows that he has a couple more after this. But I don't know if those things ever materialized properly or whatever happened to them. But yeah, from 1993, we have a film called Schramm.
Yeah, also goes under the title Schramm Into the Mind of a Serial Killer.
That's right.
Do you want to give the plot synopsis on that?
I don't know if I want to read that one here. Okay, I'll read the top one. That's way better. Alrighty, so getting into the synopsis of Schramm Into the Mind of a Serial Killer from 1993. As serial killer Lothar Schramm lies dying in his own blood, horrific memories of his miserable life of paranoia, self-harm, and rejection flash before his eyes. A tragic look into the mind of a borderline personality disorder psychopath. And that's exactly how the film starts.
Yeah, you know what, man? I always wondered what Schramm meant. Apparently, I thought it was something German. Apparently, it's just the guy's last name.
It literally is the guy's last name.
Did you happen to play the intro by Jörg Buttgereit?
I did.
Yeah, I always love those intros, man. More companies need to do that. Cult Epics does it. I love it, love it, love it when they do that.
I just love when he, like, the way he ends it, and he's like, what does he say again? He says something on the lines of, "You're probably not going to enjoy this," or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that when the director's so blunt and honest about their work.
Yeah.
It's like, this might be a little extreme for you, just letting you know.
yeah. So the idea behind this film is Jorg Bergkreis always, anytime he talks, he does seem a little like full of himself almost. He's definitely a little arrogant, and I think sometimes his vision is lost, or he thinks his vision is greater than it actually is, or how it's actually perceived. But I am a fan of him. That's just my interpretation of him when he talks.
I think he could probably toot his own whistle a little more with talking about this film or presenting this film. After I watched it, I kind of thought about it after, and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good film. Honestly, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought this was fantastic, right from the opening start. I wasn't really sure exactly what I was going to get myself into with this one. Reading the synopsis, basically the film starts out with your main character, Schramm. We'll just call him Schramm. And he's laying in a pool of his own blood, basically on the floor in a pile of paint also.
Mm-hmm.
And in the way,
which you don't really know what the hell's going on at this point.
You have no idea. So basically what the film kind of captures is, the way York shoots it, he kind of shoots it like, he focuses the camera right on his face, and it just kind of goes right in behind his eyes, and it goes into his head, and all of a sudden you start having, the story is told for the few days leading up to his death, or whatever.
It doesn't really feel like chronologically.
It's not. The narrative is very broken in this, which is kind of an interesting way.
Sense. It's supposed to be.
Yeah. So basically what it does, it kind of goes right into his head, and then it showcases memories of not only of him being a child, but, things that have happened in the days leading up to this accident, whatever's happened to him in the beginning of the film. And it also, so the narrative's told like that, and it also breaks into like the present day also. So if you're not really paying attention, you might kind of miss that, or you might kind of get confused, but the narrative is a very broken structure of memories and present, reality. Yeah. So it's a very interesting way of telling a story, because it goes backwards, but it is present at the same time. Not too many filmmakers attempt this. It's very artsy in itself, which, if you're familiar with Jorg's work from Necromantic and Tortoise King, you know exactly kind of what you're getting yourself into. And I think this really works.
For sure, you do know exactly what you're getting into, because it's definitely more of the same. And what I was saying at the beginning when he does his intro, he does say that he wanted to make this movie because so many movies show you serial killers, but not really from their mindset. And that was kind of his idea. He wanted to show you the inside of the mind of a serial killer.
Yeah, he wanted to cut out everything else. He didn't want to make a film about a serial killer killing people and having a police investigation, and
he actually takes a little stab at giallos there.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. He's like, well, basically we couldn't afford a police car anyway, so that whole idea was thrown out the window. And so we just kind of focused on visions in his head, and we told the story that way. And I was like, you know what? It's probably sometimes it works better if you have no budget. I think this is to me, it's almost a more interesting take on it, because it's unique.
Yeah, I am a little surprised that you said right away that you thought this was a good movie and that you liked it, because I do as well, but I wasn't expecting you to, because it is.
I wasn't
more
expecting to like this either. It was weird. Going into this film, I was very, very cautious, and I was like, hey, I'm going to keep my opinion. I'm just going to watch this thing. And I was honestly, right from the opening credits into where until you see kind of almost the camera, like you can kind of envision it, how York did it. It's interesting how he has these visions, which I was really getting into, and just the way he presents it, he's laying there and all of a sudden it's like into these dreams, and I was getting it right away. There was no beating around the bush. I was understanding what he was doing right away. And I was like, this is really interesting. It's working for me already. But the thing that really caught my attention with this film, is how Jorg's films always start the same. He always has this really unique score with his very simple credits rolling, but it's so fucking effective. It's like this reality that he's never been able to escape, and he manages to set all his films in like this weird reality, and it works.
Yeah,
It's so
I definitely
awesome.
agree with that. And honestly, like, I did defend his three previous films a little bit more than you guys. I know you guys weren't like low on him or super low on him, but I seem to like them most out of all three of us. Of course, I'm talking about Jeremy when he was on the show. But I think watching Schramm this time not only got me into the mind of a serial killer, but also got me into the mind of Jorg Bertkerite, who I really think I finally get. He has a vision, and he really displays it in not dialogue and not storytelling, but just in visual stimulation.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about his films. And I think that even watching Schramm now, I feel like I can go back and watch Necromantic 1 and 2 and Der Toad's King and even like him more, because I kind of get him a little bit more.
Do you think it's in fact that, you know, reviewing his films in chronological order, do you see like a growth in his filmmaking?
Yeah,
Or we're
I
just
do.
starting to understand it? Because I honestly
think it's
think this
both.
film, because I think it is, man. I think it's a little elevated, and I think what he captured in this was, you know, like I said, the narrative's all broken, things are all different and stuff, but it makes perfect sense to me. For a second, I was never lost in this. I understand exactly what he was doing. He's doing exactly what he did in all the other films, but I think he did it a little more effective here. He's showcasing tons and tons of symbolism, and there's a lot of metaphors, and there's all these things that are going on that he always has in his films.
Mhm.
But this one is like, maybe it's a little more, it's not as subtle at times. I don't know. Maybe it's just, it is what it is.
I think we maybe you probably picked up on it better than some people actually would. I think, and it probably helps that we've watched him direct 3 films before this, so we kind of know him a little bit by now, and I think we know what to look for with him, because there was a lot of metaphors and symbolism in Der Toad's King as well.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
love,
that
he
film
does
was
he has a certain technique, a certain thing that he does a lot, and I know you don't like slow-mo, but I think Jorg does it pretty good. Like, he does this slow-mo with music really well, and he does it, I think, in all of his films.
Yeah,
certain
this one
scenes are done in slow-mo.
I think he does it the best in this film. I thought it was effective the way he was doing it, because I think it was the music, but I think it was the visuals with the music. I think he captured it perfectly, and I think that's how slow-mo works the best, is if you can put the right music with the right visual.
Yeah,
right?
and
'Cause
the right amount of the right style of slow-mo, because it's almost like a
Exactly.
dragging slow-mo.
Yeah, 'cause,
Like,
you know, sometimes like you can just have slow-mo scenes, you're just like, oh, what the fuck, does this have to be in slow-mo? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think what he was doing here was working. It was, I just got it. You know, I was like, that actually does make sense. And it was never bothering me. In certain films, I'm just like, oh my God, really? Like, you're dragging that out? This one, I felt like the pacing in this film was perfect, along with the, you know, the slow-mo
65
shots.
minutes long, dude.
65 minutes long, yeah. And it was, you know, honestly, it rips by quite fast. And even with the kind of like the slower moments, it's very typical Jorg films. It doesn't have a lot of dialogue. It's more visual and things, but it never affected the pacing at all.
No.
It's, the visuals were so captivating and so fucking graphic.
Yeah, because there's
And
like that scene in Necromantic where they sit there and eat an egg for like 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see,
and
it's
that
slower.
that scene drags a little bit.
See, I think this is where he's grown as a filmmaker, because he, you know, he kind of does the same thing in this one, not as much, but like it seems to work better. He maybe it's the way he edited it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but it works.
Is that, I'm pretty sure it's you that eye stuff freaks you out, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Oh my God. So I was having a little bit of a mental breakdown today watching this film, and I knew I was going to get myself into a little bit of eye action in this film. There's a scene where basically,
How did you know?
Well, because on the back of the Schramm case, there's a picture of a dude with something in his eye.
I didn't look at the Schramm back of the
So
case.
I knew I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but my God, I was having some major issues with that scene. I gagged 3 times, and I was having a problem watching.
I kept putting my hand up to my eye, and I don't do that often.
I was like,
it was
oh my God,
it was
so
pretty
brutal.
effective. it was making me jerky. Yeah, for sure.
The effect was just nasty in this, man. Really, really nasty. Yeah, it's effective. It comes across. I mean, some people could probably think of it as being like shock value and things like that, but it actually does make sense for the film because, you know, there's symbolism, there's metaphors for exactly what he's doing. And yeah, it's hard to watch.
You know what other effect I really like is the brain, where he's like kind of pulling his head apart and he's looking at his brain.
Yeah, I know.
That's creepy.
Yeah, totally good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, lot of uncut penis in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of and it's interesting because I've heard people say that about this film there was some unnecessary things that were in this film, and I was like, okay, but I think what he's doing. We're introduced to this character, Schramm.
Yeah, are you telling me that serial killers might do unnecessary things?
Yeah, I know, right? So this character, exactly, what's going on in this film. I mean, he captures like the beauty and the lust of what's going on and the pain and just his elegant vision of the film. And you understand right away that this character has severe mental issues. Like he's dealing with, later on in the film, you actually get a little bit of insight when when he's out to lunch with actually the girl from Necromantic 2, who lives across from him, who's like a total slut or whatever. He kind of digs her, to a certain extent. But anyways, there's a scene where he is talking to her, and you get a little bit of insight into the character of why he might be exactly why he's doing his things, because he explains that, he almost once had a wife and it was kind of a one-sided relationship and things like that. And, you kind of get that instant insight into maybe that this relationship is the reason why he's doing these things. And he knows deep down inside that he is not a bad person, and or not that he's a bad person, but he knows that what he's doing is wrong. And the way I interpreted him, with the penis scenes, now I will say it is nasty. He pulls his penis out and he takes nails and he literally nails these nails right through his penis, and it's not even cut. Like, it's fucked up, man. And I think the reason why he's doing that in the film is because he's punishing himself for what he's been doing to other people. It might be a little more sexual perversion or whatever, maybe gets off on it, but I don't think so, because they never actually go into it after the fact. Like, he's driving these spikes into his penis and he's coming and things like that. It's not like Necromantic where, he stabs himself and, he gets off on it. It's a totally different thing.
It's not like that at all.
No, I think what he's doing is he's actually punishing himself because he knows that what he's doing is wrong. He doesn't want to kill these people, but he's deeply disturbed. And this is how he reacts in the film. And I just got this from Jorg right away. I was like, that makes total sense. I mean, the average person would not drive spikes through their penis and torture themselves, but he's doing it because he's doing shitty things to people and he doesn't want to do it, but he can't fucking help it because he has these urges and these sexual urges that he just, he has to fulfill.
He's also crazy as shit. And I know there's a scene where he describes a dream that he had where his like penis was gone. I think that has something to do with it as well. Maybe, I don't know about like,
it probably has something to do. Maybe it's a subconscious thing where if I didn't have a penis, I wouldn't be doing these type of things. Maybe it's a guilty conscience. Maybe that's exactly what Jorg is saying. He's saying this is, he's dreaming of no penis, and that's his guilty conscience saying, if you didn't have this penis, dude, you wouldn't be fucking killing people, getting yourself into these troubles. So yeah, and there's a lot of imagery in this film that really does showcase the mental stability of Schramm's character. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, there's a scene in here where it turns almost like Frank Henenlotter a little bit with this fucking bionic, I don't know what you want to call it, vagina, I guess, with teeth that he's envisioning. I guess it's the same thing. It's more symbolism in the fact that you probably shouldn't be sticking your dick into somewhere where it doesn't belong, kind of thing, But the effects are hilarious. It's literally this vagina with like legs with fucking dirty ass teeth that appears in his bed.
It looks like a chicken breast, like a whole chicken.
Yeah, it does. It's really strange.
I bet it was.
And not only does this thing not like, it doesn't just show up once in his bed. He's like in the bathroom in one scene and it shows up in his drawer, and like it's obviously, it's a metaphor for like his subconscious is coming out to play. Just stay the fuck out of this thing,
Yeah. Also, there's the scene where he has like the blow up doll.
Which he's, it's interesting. At first, I didn't understand why or who he was listening to fucking, but he was listening to the chick next door.
I didn't even notice that.
Because because she's a whore, right? And that he kind of loathed her, but he liked her at the same time because
that's usually how the serial killers are, right?
Yeah, like he respected that she fucked him, but he didn't like it that it wasn't him, so he would punish his blow up doll. And I thought that was a very interesting scene where, as she's fucking in the room and you hear the sounds, and then all of a sudden he gets off this blow up doll, and it's just like a half blow up doll, and he literally penetrates it. Like if you look closely, he puts his cock right into it, like the film.
There's this is method acting here.
Yeah, totally. But I thought it was very intriguing that not only did York show that scene, I mean that's totally makes sense, but after the fact he shows Schramm cleaning the vagina.
That's what I thought was interesting too, and I was
to go that one step further in the film and show that, you're just like, damn, dude. I was more disturbed by him cleaning out his
so was I was too.
Out of the fucking
it was
thing.
like
I was like, what the fuck is that? I thought that was a really kind of interesting filmmaking. I was like, damn, it got me thinking. I was like, whew, that's pretty weird.
Weirdo movie, man. This is one of those definite York Burkhardt films, but you have such an interesting little filmography from this guy. Honestly, Schramm, sorry for cutting you off, but Schramm was the one that I've heard least about. Like, I heard of the Necromantic films, obviously, and I've heard of Der Todesking a lot. Schramm I never really heard much about.
Yeah, I know, me either. I think it was just super hard to get before, and I think, I mean, the little things I'd heard about it, I'd heard mostly negative things about the film. And I think maybe it might just be misunderstood a little bit. I mean, I always feel like that's kind of a cop-out to say things like that, but I honestly truly believe it might be. I think Necromantic just has such a cult aura about it that those are the films that you go to, and anything else is like, it's either Detorskin or fucking Schramm. It just seems like it's on a different level. It doesn't really get the respect, but I don't know. I don't know. For me, this movie just worked on all levels. Like, it's very interesting. There's one scene in this film that not only, like, as you're watching this broken narrative where it's kind of going backwards and you're getting like these present day things, and it's really easy to follow. Like, the scene where the religious couple shows up at the house, and that's a big point in it, like just how brutal he actually is.
Oh yeah.
And like what he does, and then even showcases.
That was a great effect, by the way, the throat.
Yeah, man. It looked probably, some of his best effects and stuff. And like the blood splatter in the room, but like even later on in the film, they show him painting, and which ultimately comes full circle. So I actually think the structure of the film works so well because it really does make sense. And especially the last scene as he's laying on the floor, and then you get to see his visions and things that are happening and stuff. But there is one scene in this film I thought was very interesting, and I wanted to ask you what exactly you thought it might mean, because there's a scene like in the middle of the narrative, it all of a sudden cuts to outside of his apartment, and it goes into black and white, and it shows, I'm assuming, like a homeless person who commits suicide, and he just shoots himself in the head. And then the way York shoots it, it's great though. And he kind of like crouches down and he kind of gets right in there, and you see the blood flowing down the sidewalk, and it turns to black and white. This has nothing to do with the narrative in the film. It kind of like jumps out of its own narrative and just showcases this random suicide scene. And you're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't understand what I'm watching right now. I don't understand how this relates to the narrative. I don't get this at all. But I was like brutally fascinated with what I was seeing. The imagery and the way it was shot was just so fantastic to me that I was like, I don't know. Maybe JP knows something more than
I honestly didn't know either. I just thought it might have been a callback to Der Todesking or something.
Yeah, it's weird how it just jumps out of itself, right?
But I also feel like everything in his films actually means something to him. Like, I truly believe that about him.
Well, maybe it's one of those cases where that scene in particular means something completely different to him, where we're sitting here trying to figure it out. But I mean, maybe we're not supposed to know. Maybe it's just there for, maybe he just wanted to throw that in there because he had the footage. I don't know. But I love the way it was shot, and maybe it doesn't work, but it's a quick scene. And, it kind of looked like almost like a like a real suicide. It was crazy. To me,
Yeah,
it just,
man.
I was like, wow, he just like caught that on tape. Like, obviously it's not real.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't put that into a film, but like it looked pretty
Or
fucking
would
real.
you?
Or would you, right? Exactly.
That'd be some shit, though. You making a movie and catch a real suicide on film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think that you know, for such a short film, I think that York does a great job of not only showcasing the you know, the brutal mind of the serial killer, but it also, you know, in 65 minutes he manages to humanize this character also. Like I said, you know, when he's talking to or when he's out for dinner with the girl, what's her name in the film? Monica M. I think she has the same name in this film as Necromantic 2,
Well, maybe
which is,
she's supposed to be the same person then.
that's what
Maybe
I
his
thought
films
too.
are connected.
That's what I was kind of thinking too. I'm thinking this is set in the same world as her, and it's really strange. But you know, like I said, he manages to humanize the character too, because he has a moment where he tells her about how his to-be wife had left him and things like that. And you know, he's having these moments, and you kind of get to feel for him a little bit in that short period of time. It's effective. It's simple, but it's effective. At least he showed that. You know. It's kind of sympathetic, but at the same time, it's like, well, you can't really side with this guy or be sympathetic to his character because he simply likes to, you know, kill women and take pictures of them in sexually explicit positions and things
Yeah.
like that. It's like, you know, but I don't know, man.
I got a lot of similar feelings to this that I did when I watched Angst,
Yeah.
which was also released by Cult Epics.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly did very much like this movie, though. I was actually wasn't expecting all that much, to be honest.
You know, I'm in the same boat, man. And honestly, after I watched the film, I thought about it all fucking day, as you can probably tell. You know, I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm just kind of, I'm sure I'm going to be thinking about this one for a while, because it really affected me watching it. I was like, this is really interesting independent filmmaking. And in my opinion, this is by far his best film, without a doubt in my mind. This thing, I can't wait to listen to the commentaries on this. I wish I had the time to do it. I just wasn't expecting to really like it this much. So I want to hear the commentaries.
Yeah,
now.
actually, I didn't even think about actually listening to the commentaries. For some reason, I just thought that there wouldn't be commentaries because he speaks German, but I realized he speaks English in the intros all the time.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones, actually. There's one with York and some guy named Franz or whatever. And then there's one with
Franz
some
is the
flooring.
writer.
The writer, and then with that Monica M chick, that's her real name. So she actually plays herself in the film.
Oh no, her name's actually Marian in the film, but she played Monica in Necromantic.
Yeah, that's so fucking. I could have sworn that she said her name was Monica in this, man. So weird.
I mean, it is possible. This is low budget filmmaking. If you have a long take and she says her name's Monica, or somebody calls her Monica, you might just let it in as a goof.
Yeah, I swear to God, she says Monica, and that's why it got me thinking. I was like, I swear that's the same. That's so weird, but yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to it? Because I don't really. I feel like I've been talking all the time.
No. You nailed it, and I fucking agree with most of everything you said.
I nailed it right through the penis.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely is what it says it is, into the mind of a serial killer. I like movies like this. I've always been a fan. Well, I haven't really seen any movies like this, but I like serial killers and being close to them.
You know what, man? Yeah, me too, man. I'm a big fan of serial killers, always have been, and I like this take on it. You know, I felt to me like it was fresh and it was different, and I'd never really seen anything like this. You know, and I think this movie really works on a whole lot of levels, especially the running time. I think his choice to have such a short film was a good choice, because it never faulted from, you know, pacing issues or downtime or unnecessary scenes like I thought maybe in what is it, Necromantic 2, that really long lunch scene, which is just like totally.
Is that Necromantic 2 or is that Necromantic 1?
Is it in part 1? Shit, dude, I can't even fucking remember if it's from part 1 or 2.
One, but it might
I think
be. No, it's part 2. I can't. No, it's part 2 because he goes to see the movie.
Exactly, it is in part 2. Good, you have me fucking double guessing myself there. Yeah, it's in part 2. But yeah, remember that was one of my critiques on it, that I said that scene was just way, way too long, and he was almost trying to be too artsy for the sake of being artsy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I never got that from this at all. I felt like everything had a meaning. I felt like everything was there for a reason. And even though there is certain things in the film I can't put an explanation behind, like the black and white suicide scene.
Well, the commentary will probably help with that.
Probably. That's one scene that I still was fascinated by. I was like, that's really crazy, because instantly I was like, wow, he just jumped out of his narrative into a different world. I'm like, this is so fucking weird. It's out of character. It's strange, but oddly enough, I was drawn to it, and I didn't have a problem with it. So, I mean, that says a lot about the film.
Mm-hmm. I like it. You want to go ahead and get into ratings?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll go first. So I don't know if I'll be as high as you. I definitely did really, really much enjoy it. I could have honestly maybe done without so much penis in my face, just because it did look gross, you know, and God, he
really does make a point of having close-ups. I mean, that penis looked like it was on my table,
and it's in HD.
Yeah, like, you know, it was like on my coffee table as I was watching the movie. It was so
like
close.
There was a lot of it, which you know, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna
52 plus inches of TV screen with a big cock. Like, holy shit, dude.
But yeah, so you know, I love mostly the visuals. The visuals kill it for me, and the soundtrack with the visuals. I mean, like, it's beautiful to look at. Like the editing's really good too, because they do a lot of this like they'll show a scene happen. Like, remember when he spreads the legs and he like throws them open, and it showed it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, it just looked nice, you know. Not.
Is it just me, or did the blood like in his, you know, his half leg look so good?
Oh yeah, it did.
It looked really, really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I give this one a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I pretty much said what I had to say about the film. There's not really a lot of things I can say bad about the film. I don't even know what I could possibly say bad. I mean, honestly, this one just had me thinking all day. You know, and that's honestly, in my opinion, what makes a really effective film. Not fully, but for this type of artsy type film, it makes you think.
It's definitely an art house.
Yeah, for an artsy film, it keeps you thinking. You kind of question things. If an art house
film doesn't make you think, it's a failure.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, you know, he accomplished what he was trying to do with the imagery and, you know, the things that, you know, the narrative that he was trying to portray to you. Yeah, very, very dark, ambient, you know, cinema, man. I can't even say a lot of bad things about this, man. But I'm going to give this one a solid 9 out of 10. I think this is by far his best film. It's such a shame that this is the last full-length feature that he's done. You know, I guess we'll see some New York with with German angst. Yes, we'll check out that. But yeah, man.
Me personally, I do like Necromantic 1 and 2 better than this movie. I do think that this one is his best made. But there's something about Necromantic 1 and 2 that actually make me just super uncomfortable, and it like just, you know, grosses me the fuck out. This one, the one scene with the eye definitely made me cringe and stuff, but maybe watching this one a couple more times, I don't know if I picked up on as much stuff as Moodz, which honestly is kind of rare for me because usually I'm right there with him and everybody else, but I am very curious to check out the special features on this now. Especially since I have that sexy Sex Murder art box set from Cult Epics. Thank you for that.
That is true. Yeah, man, I was like cooking dinner tonight. I was making up this awesome marinade for this chicken and stuff, and I was fucking thinking of Schramm, and I'm like, this is so wrong. I'm handling like raw chicken, and I'm like, I'm thinking of Schramm.
You know what's funny?
It was so weird.
Nico, the PR agent from Cult Epics, he was like, I told him that he watched my video or something, and he was like, "Yeah, if you because I was sick when I did that video." He's like, "If you're sick, you might not want to watch Schramm right away because you know it's sick or something." I forget what he said, but it was cool.
Yeah, I could see that, man. Yeah, and definitely don't watch Schramm if you're afraid of, seeing lots of penis.
Dude, I love cult epics, and we've said that before. Cult epics does some cool, interesting stuff, way out of the norm. But I was thinking, like, what else could they release? I think either like Faces of Death or the Guinea Pig films. I think that's kind of up their alley.
Yeah, I know. I wonder who still has. I mean, I know Unearthed Films had released the Guinea Pig films years ago. They've been out of print, but yeah, I mean, they need to pick that shit up. That'd be awesome. Those would be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of the Guinea Pig films before?
I've seen the first one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they get really crazy. Like really almost goofy in the later sequels and stuff. They're strange. Fucking strange, man. But yeah, so that is going to conclude episode 80 here on the 22 Shots podcast. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, man. I want to thank, as I always do, everybody out there that called in to the show and left voicemails or wrote in and asked questions, because we truly appreciate that. We love answering the questions, and so keep them coming, guys. So yeah, Schramm 1993, check it out. It's awesome stuff. JP, you want to ride us out of here?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for checking out episode 80. I had fun. I know Moodz had fun. As always, there's a few things that you guys need to know. One, we are on horrorphilia.com. That is Jason Lloyd hooking us up with a home away from our home, which is 22 Shots of Moods and Horror.com. Been a little more active on there lately, posting press releases, posting Vaults of Horror. You can go over there, check out all the stuff that I got planned coming up soon. And also, guys, if you want to send us a question via text, you can always do that anywhere, including the Facebook group page, which is facebook.com/group/22 Shots Podcast. On Twitter, 22 Shots Podcast. And, of course, the Gmail account, which is 22 Shots of Moods and Horror at gmail.com. If you guys want to hit us up with a voicemail, leave a message, ask a question, 724-426-6665. And as always, guys, please rate us on iTunes. You will be entered in all future contests if you do so, so it's kind of stupid not to. Oh, not only rate, but review, because if you just rate it, I'm not going to be able to tell that you rated it, and you won't be entered in contests. But if you do leave a review, positive, negative, whatever you want to do, we prefer positive, but be honest, you will be entered. So do that. It's always good. It's a little bit of annoyingness to actually do it, but it doesn't take the longest in the world, and you're entered in every contest we do in the future. So, with that said, guys, check out our YouTube channels, Double Shot J, Mood 616, and peace.
Peace.